The Off-Road Championship is back for more mud-churning action at the ERX Motor Park in Elk River, Minnesota, where the last days of summer bear witness to the final races of the baddest trucks on dirt. 3 classes of raw, menacing horsepower are getting ready to clash. Pro Light, Pro 2, and Pro 4. And all drivers are looking to stake their claim as the best in their class. Last time, the Pro Lights brought the heat and the contact, with multiple rollovers and plenty of action for the fans. But it was Kyle Kleiman who took the checkers and kept the points lead. The battles continued in the Anything Goes Pro 2 class. Class leader Luke Johnson muscled his way up to second before getting tangled up with the local lad Andrew Carlson. But Mikey Vandenheuvel showed his skill, winning his 2nd race of the TORC season. And the flat-out Pro 4s delivered as the top contenders battled for dominance. It was all Johnny and CJ Greaves refusing to give a fender for blood or money. The 2 monster trucks put on a dirt track driving clinic, with CJ pulling away for the win and keeping the points lead, but not by much. Today is a critical penultimate round, and championships are on the line. No holds barred, full contact, door-to-door, 4-wheel mayhem is guaranteed as drivers protect their leads or desperately claw for more points. Precious opportunities are slipping past for those anxious to join the elite, and careful calculations give way to reckless abandon. The motor screaming, dirt exploding, rock dodging, air it out action is about to get the green flag. This is TORC, the Off-Road Championship. We've been waiting 4 months for this day, and it has finally arrived, the penultimate round of TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. We're at ERX Motor Park for the Kenda final rounds. Hi everyone, welcome to Minnesota. You know this guy, he's the TORC champ, the motocross champ, supercross champ, and all-around good guy, Ricky Johnson. I'm Robbie Floyd. And Ricky, we've been to ERX before. It's a relatively new track, but it looks different today than it has in the previous rounds.
Well, Robbie, they've kept the same layout, but they're constantly massaging it. I talked to Chris Carlson and to Jeff Nordstrom. They've taken about 60 feet off the entry of the split lane, and also the whoops coming into Talladega, they took those down. They said yesterday it was too much one line coming from the outside in. They want to make it better so the racers don't have to T-bone each other in the corners.
Trying to make it a little more racy. We'll see how much fun the drivers have, including Kyle Kleiman, trying to wrap up a Pro Light championship today. He caught up with Kate Osborne.
With the track changes, the big question is, will it affect Kyle Kleiman's strategy? Kyle, you could clinch the championship here today. What's it going to take?
You know, strategy-wise, we're just going to keep it the same. Yesterday we had a good truck, a fast truck at that, and you know, tracks changing every lap, so it is what it is. Everybody's got a race on it. You know, so we're pretty much just got to finish each day. So, you know, we're starting on pole, so hopefully we can keep it on the box. So that's what we're hoping for.
Kyle Kleiman feeling confident here that today is going to be the day he clinches his first Pro Light championship.
We'll get to the racing here in just a moment, but the fans turning out on this final couple of rounds here of the TORC Championship season. But first, let's send it down to public address announcer, the voice of off-road, Mr. Scott Rain.
Race fans, welcome to ERX Motor Park in round 12 of the 2017 TORC, the Off-Road Championship Series, presented by AMSOIL. At this time, can everyone please rise, gentlemen, remove your hats for the presentation of colors this afternoon, presented by the Elk River American Legion.
Right, hey.
Our family presentational flag, honoring Staff Sergeant Brandon Larson with the U.S. Army, who just returned home from a 2nd deployment serving in Iraq, Afghanistan, Jordan, and Kuwait. Also honoring Becky Ewing of Blaine, Minnesota, with son specialist Brennan Pittman, who is active duty military, honoring their son and brother, Army Sergeant Zachary Ewing, who passed away August 27th, 2016.
And it's like full. Yep, present this flag and honor your son.
And now for our opening invocation this morning by Billy Sanderson.
Let's pray. Father, we're reminded today of soldiers who have given the ultimate sacrifice so that we could be here today and enjoy this race. We're also reminded of your son, Jesus, who paid the ultimate sacrifice for all of us. Lord, thank you for this track, for these drivers, for these teams. Just pray that the competitiveness would be raw. Thank you for the Carlson and Playstead families that had the vision to create this amazing park here in Elk River, Minnesota. Father, we're looking forward to a great day. It's in your matchless name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
And ladies and gentlemen, now for the greatest song in the world about the greatest country in the world, our very own national anthem, this afternoon sung by Kim Woody.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And ladies and gentlemen, now for the greatest words, the coolest words, the best words in all of motorsports, our Grand Marshal, Staff Sergeant Brandon Larson.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
As you see, what looks like a full field of pro stock UTVs. I'm Robbie Floyd, sitting next to RJ Ricky Johnson, the TORC Series champ. And Ricky, we start things off with the UTVs. We build up horsepower shortly thereafter. But these are some very exciting races, both in pro stock and the pro mods.
Well, what's great is that with this small vehicle, it's a lot like a very small Pro 4. So you can drive very aggressive, very hard on the gas. And what's cool is that you got the pace car. It is one of them as well.
Yeah, the pace vehicle, the Yamaha UTV, the Yamaha, and literally buy off the showroom floor, spend, you know, 10, 15,000 modifying, do your modifications to the engine you want. You can, almost like a lease program, you can sit there and make payments on your race vehicle, just buy the stalker in front and just build it the way you want to, and you can have a full-blown race vehicle here in TORC, the Off-Road Championship.
Well, and I think that's what we've seen a lot, and not just in the TORC Series, out west, the Lucas Series, also they have, you know, a lot of the racing back east and the woods racing and stuff like that. So this is a way for a guy to get out there and be really aggressive, and it also fits, you know, in a small trailer and also in your garage. And you can go out and race, and if you want, take your buddy with you, or your wife, or your daughter, or your son, or things like that, so you can go out and have some fun.
You can see the suspension of the stalkers. Maybe not quite the mods that he needs right now, especially still held the extra seat in there as well. I know Johnny Greaves gives some drive arounds in his, what's a YXZ is the model, the 1000, right? And I know you just got through giving one of the Liquid Wrench execs a drive around this track in the TORC former Pro 2 truck.
Yeah, but I don't want everyone to think that this is just a Yamaha class. Yamaha seems to be the vehicle of choice, but there's a lot of Polaris and Can-Ams and what we see also in the third row on the inside, once again, Polaris.
You see Jake Lunderby on the yellow vehicle on the inside. CJ Greaves next to him, the series points leader, undefeated on the season, and they are green. That means go, and Lunderby with the start. We'll see what CJ can do, but Lunderby's really setting the pace here. Now watch on the inside, Zach Martin.
Zach Martin shooting up the inside. CJ Greaves, the track is awesome right now. You can see that CJ can run that fast around the outside and carry more speed coming in. So great move by CJ Greaves on Jake Lunderby.
He wasn't too concerned with losing that lead as long as he held position, right?
Well, this is not what the competitors want to see. We see a couple guys bumping into each other. These vehicles do have a reverse, so they can. I double said that, reverse. But they do not want to see CJ Greaves get out in front because he is undefeated at this point.
Yeah, and 53-point leads. You're looking at your champion in Pro Stock UTV because there's only 50 points available, coming into this round. So he is your Pro Stock champion, but we've heard something from him at the last round that we haven't heard all year, how he wanted to go undefeated.
Kenny Mash looking to the inside of Martin, and he's able to pull off that position. Mash wasn't up there yesterday. Martin was, but Mash looking very fast at this point.
Mash was up there at first, and he's the one that made contact into the back of CJ. It looked like he was a little upset at the time, and that may have cost him. But again, Mash putting the pressure, and it looks like Martin had the position. Martin goes back to third in the 9:18. Kenny Mash drops back to fourth. Lori into fifth.
Well, this is not a tight track, but it's a very racy track for the trucks. But when it comes to the side-by-side, you're wide open the majority of the time, so you have to think about minimizing your side load and not bogging down the vehicle on the exit. So that's what we saw happen where Martin was able to get by. Now we see Mash looking to the inside.
Mash in a great position here, and just behind him too might be Lori Carmody. But we saw, well, again, now low in position. This time Martin's going to be in the inside because it's a left-hand turn. Martin got a lot better drive that time, but he was on the shorter route. How did that happen?
Well, it's all about traction. As you can see, that the inside, the dirt gets pushed out and becomes softer and softer, so it bogs the vehicle down a little bit. And what we see in there is that sometimes the short way around isn't going to be as deep of dirt, and you're able to get a better drive. So right now you can see the Polaris on the outside. That's Lori trying to get a run as he comes over the top. Good run. So at this point, the track is very racy everywhere.
Except for him. Not so good there. Is that on the hairpin turn? I'm trying to figure out exactly where that is, or it's in the last turn, or heading to the flagging stand possibly.
Yep, so
yellow flag out, at least in that section, Ricky, and that is the split section there. And the way they're slowing down, that looks like it's going to be a full course caution for our Pro Stock UTVs. 2 laps down, 10 more to go. One thing we haven't talked about is there is a competition caution at the halfway mark. Halfway is after 6 laps with the UTVs. They'll be running 12 total. The trucks will be running 14 laps here at ERX.
Safety worker looking inside, giving you okay, thumbs up, and then the whole idea here is if you shut the vehicle off quick enough, you can just start it and get going. So right now you can see the safety truck's going to give it a little pop.
Nice, good to go. It looks like it's...
That's Waz. Waz upside down.
Which way? Yeah, he was upside down. The 968, that's Brian Waz. Scott Waz started, I believe, next to him. Brian Waz, Scott Waz, a couple of brothers out there racing, and Brian got the bad end of that one.
He was upside down.
You got it. I know you love that.
Waz family, I apologize, but
they've gotten it. You know they've gotten it.
You guys loved that commercial when it came out a few years ago.
I had a buddy, Greg Wazaleski, and he was known as the Waz too, and he got it as well. But you're looking at, and they'll start nose to tail this time, and it kind of does help a guy. So say, who's our biggest mover? It looks like Enlow, the 998 is the one that's the biggest mover. That's Blake Enlow. Right Enlow, actually, the second biggest mover. But Blake Enlow moving up 4 positions. And let me see, where does that get him? 998. Now that puts him into 17. The other Enlow, the Brian, is the 995. He's up in 8th spot right now, still holding on from where he started. He didn't make three moves, but you can have that. If you say you had a bad qualifying for whatever reason, Ricky, and if you have bad qualifying, you're starting in the back, you want these yellow flags. Make a few passes, bring out the caution. As long as you've made that caution and they go back to that last lap and you still hold position.
Well, I'll be honest with you, when they first, Jim Baldwin from Core is the one that came out with this, and when he first came out with it, I hated it because I always like to work my way, get up to the front, get out in front, and sort of relax if you can, because you work hard on your starts and all the different stuff. But then I realized it puts on so much better of a show, and then also you don't have that, you're not desperate at the beginning of the race, crashing into people, trying to make desperate moves so the leader doesn't get away from you. This gives, if the guy's out in front, he can relax a little bit, but the guy's catching up, know that he gets another shot at it.
Yamaha Pace vehicle leads the crew, and again, as Ricky mentioned, there's a lot of Yamahas in the stock class. I want to point out also, if you have a turbo, in your stock UTV, it's still considered a mod. So that takes some, vehicles, even if you use out of that picture, and that's the case for the Can-Am or whatever. If you had, even though it was stock, that would still be considered a mod. So here we go again. CJ Greaves, the 933, the 955 of Jake Lunderby, his buddy right behind him. Zach Martin in third. Let's see what Martin can do back there if he can put the pressure on.
What I liked about what CJ Greaves just did is that it says the leader sets the pace. He picked up the pace probably about 8 miles an hour. Didn't ditch him. Didn't jerk off. Didn't jerk out in front of him. What happened was he just picked up the speed slowly, and then he was able to keep distance between everybody.
Now you're seeing him being CJ Greaves take that inside line. Everybody else like that outside. It looks like the split's fairly even this time, Ricky.
Yeah, what they did yesterday, as we said in the opening, they opened up the beginning so that guys aren't trying to set up so much. Because the way it was, and I gave some rides out there, I found that I thought more about the split lane than I did the corner. So it took away the raciness of the corner and everyone trying to slow down and be ready for that split lane. So hopefully this changes it, makes it a little bit better. But I'm really grateful for Chris Carlson and Jeff Nordstrom for
accepting the track change.
Well, it's not just me. I'm going to make a suggestion, but they're in control of it, but they're wanting to make it better, so it's great. Right now, the dirt looks awesome. It's hard pack, but it's very, very racy.
I saw CJ in that what would be considered the first turn now after that checkered flag box. Ooh, getting a little wide there is Lunderby. I saw CJ charge in pretty hard. One of the drivers have brought it. Was that Reed possibly? But charging hard, but I'm seeing a harder charging Jake Lunderby. I think he really wants to put the pressure on early, because you can't, even though you have that calm caution, he really wants to be out in front, and somebody has lost an engine. We've seen too much smoke there.
I think they can go to a local yellow there and keep it going, but Martin is really keeping the pressure on Lunderby right now. So it's great what we're seeing between these guys. Right now on our, actually, they have it scored differently. But
well, it's Kenny Mash on our time to scoring that's off a little bit. Shows him up there, and he's one that's not in that picture, so it might have been Mash that's had problems because he's only completed 3 laps. So it looks like they are going to have to go to a full course caution, it looks like. So what we've been told is this will serve as the competition caution as well. So even though there's still 8 laps to go, this is the final time we're going to bunch up nose and tail, barring any more yellows, full course yellows. As they'll pull that machine off of the track. Seeing nose to tail, I'm seeing, no, that's Carmody there. So yeah, I think Kenny Mash is the one that was one of those front runners that we're not seeing in that picture again, and that's unfortunate for him because he missed at Crandon, wasn't in that picture, but he was up front at the last round for a bit. Kind of a training ground for CJ Greaves too, because he's driving both UTV classes, trying to help out his teammate Rodney Van Eperen and maybe put some separation between himself in the next race you'll see for that championship hunt. But also it's kind of seeing what that track's going to do. When you're racing 2 times before you get in that big truck, I think that's a big advantage.
Well, watching how the track is as it seasons every lap and watching how it starts to break apart. Now the big trucks will break it up quicker than these guys, but he knows the dirt. And when you get to drive the dirt, that's going to definitely help him in Pro 4.
All right, this should be the final turn before we go back green. You'll see some acceleration zone flags right there, and he got on it. Actually, he got on it a little later that time.
Well, this time what he did is last time he left a little early, this time he left a little late.
Keep him guessing,
that's
right?
racing. Hey, if you're the leader, you control the pace. So CJ Greaves keeping him guessing.
Keep him guessing. As long as you don't get that whiplash from your buddy Rambo and you from back there. Let's go to Kate Osborne real quick.
You know, I want to talk on the fact that CJ is consistent, and you're right, Robbie. You were saying that this is him getting, learning ground for later on in the race, and that's exactly right. One of the reasons I think that this UTV program has been so successful for them is also because their truck program is as well, and I think that training time that these drivers are getting crossing over like that is unmeasurable.
Well, I think that could only help Rodney Van Eperen, who is injured and not racing here. He's still fighting for the championship, but Johnny Greaves will drive his UTV. But when you look at here and a couple of Yamahas out there, Lunderby's built out of the Grieve shop. You know, I mean, you're seeing a lot of these vehicles that are pretty similar to each other, and they're just helping each other go faster.
Well, and then also Zach Martin, you can see the number 518, and or 918. I'm sorry about that. Is that these guys are old moto guys? So you see. They follow a trend. With age comes a cage, but they're not old. They're young guys, and it's great to see them transition into them. And you can see Martin looking on the inside. Is he going to take the other lane? He follows CJ's line. Can he make up some ground on Lunderby?
Yeah, Zach Martin finished 4th. He wants to get on that podium no matter what. He's currently in 3rd right now. Jake Lunderby, another strong finish. He was 3rd place in the Pro Stock UTV at the last round, and we've got somebody on our lid. That would be the 968. That's Waz. Not so good for Waz again. So Red Rover, we had one roll over, and that's going to be the 968 machine of Brian Waz. What happened? Oh, here he is on the very closest.
He comes to the inside, he gets a little bump from the back, it starts to hook up, and then it grabs the berm, and over he goes. So that's twice for Brian Waz. So tough day at this point. You can see the front wheels are all towed in, so this is going to be the end of his race for sure.
When Brian watches this, he's going to go, Ricky Johnson, that is not the back. I got bumped from the side, exactly. and I had nothing to do with that. I mean, he was in a compromised position there.
Yeah, and when you get pushed out like that, he got into that rut. It wasn't his fault. He got pushed a little bit, but it didn't look like a complete takeout on my perspective.
Not how you want the Dirt Syndicate to get your mention that time, is reading it sideways when you're up on his lid. And that seemed to be the corner that was the most difficult, or the most rollovers that we had the most problems with at the last round.
Well, well, they put that jump right there to slow the guys down, and everybody races in, and it's a complete 180. The only way that they can correct that is add more berm to the outside to encourage people to run fast around the outside, because see, the berm is pretty much, the dirt surface and angle is consistent all the way around, so there's really not any reason to go out wide except chasing the cushion, but it's too far to go.
Right, and that is a cambered turn. We're looking at it, and the way that you're looking at it here, it does go high to low towards that inside, but not very drastic, but it is a little bit of a camber to it.
It's definitely. We saw Andrew Carlson yesterday in the Pro Light roll up and then go up on the corner and roll back and land on his wheels. I talked to him last night. He was saying, oh, I think I got it. Then he stalled it really quick. But no, there is definitely angle there, but the only way you're going to get guys to use the outside more than the inside is give it more angle than the inside. There's more altitude, just not more angle. There you can see the altitude and the lack of angle.
Yeah, no, that's a good shot. Thank you, our director, Brian Lockwood. Yeah, you can see how much from low to high it does. But you make a big bowl turn like that, too, you're still going to try and find that happy place like in the middle, too. And they slam into that turn. But, I mean, they have more opportunity. They could. But generally you don't see that, because when you see big bowl turns like that, what else is that when you're facing straight into it? What is that called? A jump.
Yeah.
And you don't want that.
Well, right, yeah. I mean, you don't want to send them launching through the AMSOIL side and Cooper Tires side.
Well, the Yamaha UTV Pace vehicle is getting a lot of shout-outs today, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And Richie Kuloff is looking sharp in there. Got his American flag, dual American flags on America.
Speaking of cooling off, it is just a little bit today. I've got my action wear on, and it's
and action wear off.
Yes, I do. And it was 94 degrees in Minneapolis yesterday at the last round. 94 is 1 degree off of being an all-time record. that tells you it's hot for the first day of autumn. It was not very autumnal.
And normally announcing is not an endurance sport.
This is true. This is true. I had to get a cool vest.
Yeah, we want to thank Adam for bringing in ice packs and Daryl for bringing in bags of ice.
Yeah.
Cool, refreshing beverages. All right, let's go racing.
Yeah, let's get ready to go. I'd like to thank Under Armour as well, as we have CJ Greaves of the 933 Monster Energy Graves Motorsports. Driver out in front. You've seen him win Pro 2 championships, Pro 4 championships. He's already wrapped up the Pro Stock UTV, still trying to have that undefeated season. Can it be done? We've got a couple of guys really close behind him. One, Jake Lunderby. And I've seen CJ get on two wheels a little more today than I did at the last round.
Well, and that's where he's feeling out the dirt. That's going to help him in Pro 2. I'm sorry, in Pro 4, because when he comes in, he's easing into the two-wheelers action, not throwing it in and bicycling really hard. He'll float the inside and comes up a little bit, so he's driving as hard through the corner as humanly possible without flipping it. So he's learning the texture and the tackiness of this dirt.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I see CJ get on those two wheels. He's so smooth when he does do that. Like right there, you can see him just try and pitch it squared up. And I saw somebody roll just behind. That was one of our front runners. Was that Martin? Was that Lori? Was it Carmody? Who rolled just behind? Is that Martin? I see off-colored, but when you're seeing the bottom, you can't really tell.
Looks orange to me, and it could possibly be Martin.
Let's find out what happened. As got a replay. We'll see if we can get the full picture. All right, there's Martin in third. It'd be Lori. I think it's Lori.
It's Lori. He just came in hooked, and then right over. It doesn't look like it broke his spindle or anything like that. Just bit a little bit.
And over he goes and out. So I think he thinks the day's done there. Pretty good rotation, but you know everything looks pretty square. I'm actually kind of surprised because we're just now at the halfway point. If I'm in his ear, I'm saying get back in there.
Well, but he might know something that we obviously that we
true.
don't. You know, the driver, he felt something broke. Something could happen to his steering, the shaft inside. So the wheels are straight.
Yeah, he might be
the steering wheel could be completely blown out.
Right, that is true. The race that will never end. That's the way we're looking at it. Now you're starting to worry about how much fuel you had in there. You know, some of these guys might be, you know, you don't need a full tank, Ricky, because generally if it's held high, and you dealt with that in motocross, but you don't expect it to be an hour race either.
I'm going to have to talk to Siri and find out the MPG of these Yamaha UTVs.
Right.
But yeah, no, in a lot of cases, we've seen that in the pro divisions, is that you don't want to have a giant fuel cell fuel's going to slosh around. So you basically want to set it up so you fill it up, and that you have, you know, maybe a gallon or so at the end of it, at the end of the race if you're lucky. Some guys are up probably about 5 gallons, but still, if you get a lot of these yellows and you're going around, we've had situations where.
If you don't run out of fuel, you can still be starving for fuel at inopportune time.
Yeah, but the way they build the fuel cells is that they'll put, work with the company Fuel Safe, and they'll set a basket in the middle, so it holds fuel as it sloshes back and forth and traps it, and so that they make sure that it has a spot that always has fuel in it unless it's upside down. In that case, it's got a check ball and it stops it from flowing.
You're getting all technical on me today. Look at that beautiful seating area over there in the trees, and that's where we did our stand-up a little while ago. It's nice. The birds, the bees are out. Definitely the bees. There's the spotter stand. Everything's done here first class, and there's Scott Rain, Brent Smith calling the live event action here for the fans. The spotter's on top. There's race control, Double O, DJ P-Rock over there in the booth as well. Mixing the ones and twos.
I said the word check ball, and you said I'm getting all technical. What was that word you used twice in the opening?
Penultimate?
Yeah, educate me on that.
Second, next to last. It's a big word to say the next to last round. Because I had 3 and 4 Tornadic yesterday.
Yeah, Tornadic.
Penultimate was today.
That's a hard hit. Look at the cage.
Yesterday was the autumnal equinox.
Man.
Yeah, there definitely was some hard hitting going on there. And
they're getting him back in.
Yeah,
he's back in.
Because when you see that on there in the front, as long as it's here, I think his guy told him, "Hey, dude, you're only halfway through this race." But it might have jarred him pretty good, because if it does that to the cage, even if you're not making contact, that's still just one of those little thuds.
Well, but some guys are very, very claustrophobic. Mike Oberg, who's won the Amsoil Cup and actually won the Jason Baldwin Cup in the Core Series. He was very, very claustrophobic. So he would stand there and he waited till the Cowboy was running before he put his nub. He did not like it. So if his truck was upside down, he was out of it immediately. So
I get that.
So and that's not a joke. That's serious, man. If you don't like those close deals, you get out of it.
Dude, our safety crew is
putting down a lap.
Yeah, he's got his fast lap going right now.
Qualified third in
Somebody
Pro 4.
get a gun on that guy. Who is it that's driving
That's
around?
Whitey. Whitey just qualified third in Pro 4.
Whitey's got a fast lap time. I know you gave one of the execs from Liquid Wrench a ride, and his daughter a little earlier. Boy, you should have seen her eyes when she got out of that truck. And she's like, that was awesome. And then he was going, man, I want to do it again.
I'll stay in here all day.
Yeah, and they have promotions again at the TORC series, and follow us online and at Facebook and stuff. They do giveaways and different promotions, and you can maybe take a ride around track, whether it be this year or next year, with Ricky Johnson. As we're set to the second half, literally the race 6 laps down, 6 more to go in the Pro Stock UTVs. And oh, look at that. Great jump by Lunderby. He just stayed on it. I think he was on the throttle and the brake at the same time, something you tell me to do all the time in the rental car. But Lunderby got a very good jump that time.
He did it right.
Like you. Hey, I've done my rental car rallies. I learned to back off. Oh, and now we're seeing some pressure from Zach Martin. Zach looked like he was wanting to take a little different line, but Lunderby never really committed on where he was turning.
CJ Greaves typically likes this top line. And you watch when he goes through these rollers coming in here, he likes a double, and then double into the turn, but it doesn't have as much of a lip, so he's not able to clear, but he's keeping the same line in rotation that he was yesterday, and that was a huge benefit. And notice that he doesn't, like those two guys got together and he walked away from them, but typically he does it very smoothly. It's almost real stealthy-like.
Guy I want to point out, it may actually went over on his lid. I couldn't tell. I thought I saw somebody tip over. Was Dylan Pointon in the 929. He started in 9th place. That last time around, he was in 4th. But right around that area, I saw somebody get on 2 wheels. We'll see if that'll be the case. Well, Brian Waz is not in the picture. Let's find out why. He's caught up with Kate Osborne.
Yeah, unfortunately, he is in this picture and not out there. Brian, a tough day for you. Not just one, but 2 rolls. Walk us through them.
Well, the first one, I was a little aggressive. Really want to get up front. Just stuffed in the turn too far. Flipped over. My fault. Flipped back over. Nothing was broke. Got back on it, figured I was good to go. Was passing guys, and then I've got past one guy, he didn't like it, and he just T-boned me in the corner, sent me flying again, and broke some stuff. So sit and watch on the sidelines, unfortunately.
The good news is we have one more round here in the series, and Brian's going to get back out there.
Dylan Pointon making an aggressive move.
I called it. I saw him.
On Martin. So Pointon was very strong yesterday, got all the way up and was making a move. So now he's the man on the move up to 3rd place. Let's see if he can do anything with Jake Lunderby.
Yeah, Dylan Pointon finished 2nd in the last round, and he's up to 3rd right now. So maybe that was that scenario where he didn't qualify well back in 9th, and now he's starting to turn it on. He's in 3rd. Boy, he power slid into that thing hard.
He's coming in hard, but I like he's doing a very similar angle to CJ Greaves, not throwing it out completely sideways, but backing it in a little bit. We talked to some of the drivers earlier where they can't put a bias stop in these vehicles, but they can change compound of brake pads front and rear. So
there goes Pointon over big time, and just when we were talking about how fast he was, his race comes to an end in the 929. Man, that was a hard hit, Ricky. I mean, no question. He was fast, and with a short wheelbase like this and a bunch of horsepower, it is hard to deal with. It's just on you before you can even react.
Watch Dylan Pointon in the white car behind the Lunderby in yellow. He comes here, it hikes, he goes to catch it, it throws onto a bicycle, he catches it to the right, and then it hooks the right front wheel and then throws him down, breaks the wheel off as he comes over. A hard hit, 1, 2, and 3 hits. So I'm glad to see him moving and conscious and everything okay, but a very, very hard hit for Dylan Pointon.
On several different axes as well when he's making contact with that cage. Yeah, that was definitely a hard hit of the weekend. The Kenda final rounds is a bad deal there for Dylan Pointon, and we just talked about it. Let's take a look at what happened earlier. And can't tell who that was that made the rollover, but Kate Osborne, you got him. All right, it looks like we don't have that there. I'm not sure what happened. Looks like that was Leo Uliana that might have had problems in the 912 as he's coming out of there on his own wheel. I see Kate there with him as well. Looks like he's all right, but he looks like he suffered some damage, and he's trying to assess the situation.
Yeah, he is all right, he said. But yeah, assessing the damage, it looks like there is some damage. Leo, first, what happened, and more importantly, what's going on in the UTV?
Well, just racing, you know, we're trying to get a couple positions, go in the corner a little too hot, and next thing you know, the tire catches into a rut or something and takes you over, and you try and drive through it, and couldn't drive out of that one. So, but I'd like to thank all the people that helped me get here. Seminole Power Sports, Mega 4x4, Yamaha, Next Level in Orlando Audio, Alba, DWT, just everybody all around. Thanks for helping me get here. You know, I do my best as a small guy out here on the table. So, but if it wasn't for these people, Super 8 TV, you know, I wouldn't be here. So, just want to thank them.
I got to ask you, how hot is it for a driver right now out here?
Well, I'm from Florida, and I'm used to being in the heat. And this, for today, with the humidity the way it is, and it's still a little hot. It almost like I'm still in Florida, so it definitely takes a toll on you. But other than that, just another day, I guess.
It's part of racing, part of adapting here to every situation. These guys are definitely throwing some curveballs.
As he would say, this ain't Florida no more, yo, and it is hot. But look at pointing that. She's sitting a little crooked. That left front's down, and I know it hit in the rear on the roll cage as well. Let's take a look at what happened as Dylan's assessing his situation.
Okay, put your eyes on the white car, the third car in line. CJ Greaves in front, Lunderby in second, and then pointing in third. As he comes over, he bounces, drops the wheel a little bit, and it starts to, as it hit here, it starts to hike out. He goes to catch it, and then it hooks back the other way. He goes to catch it again, and then turns hard. Next thing you know, it's up. He saves it, but then comes over too far, and then that breaks the wheel off. We see it come flipping, and then also it tore off. It didn't tear off, but it bent the left front really bad. So as I was saying before, these cars, you get that whipping effect, so it'll affect you later on, but it's not a real single hard hit like in the trucks, because they're so big, and when they stop, they thud. These, they kind of roll like a Baja bug.
And unfortunately, Dylan Point in third in championship points. Jake Lunderby sits in second right now. Lunderby looks like he will pass him in points if he stays in that position. He was only 9 behind. And yeah, the fastest lap of the race is CJ Greaves out in front. The second fastest was Dylan Point.
Yeah.
They were the only two drivers in the 54-second range. Everybody else in 55s and more. So CJ, and again, Lunderby, I think he's kind of figured out. See, I think he might be sharing radios because he's on the gas at the same time.
He just watched him. He's like, what they say, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So he's not getting fooled by CJ. He's watching him. He's ready. He's covering that throttle and brake, and he's getting a good run at it. But he has his hands full with Martin.
Yeah, Zach Martin also in low, closing in low in the other yellow Yamaha. Closing in there in fourth. The 995 of Ben Enlow started in 12th place. So another guy that started in the back and had to make passes up to the front. Scott was in the top 5. We saw Brian out of the picture. Brian was his brother, but Scott's up there in the top 5. Boy, CJ boosting that jump. I mean, he's landing down there a bit.
And actually, Zach Martin had the fastest lap time that time out with a 59.8. So there was the quickest lap, but CJ still seems to be pulling just a little bit because Martin has his hands full and also his vision full with Lunderby.
Yeah, just on those partial laps, you'll see certain scenarios like that. But look at Martin. He's the third vehicle in your picture. He's doing something different. He's squared it outside. He's going to dive inside. And then if he's got a little bit more drive, he's going to do the opposite of the vehicle in front of him.
We're setting this up right here. If he's fast through here, he can make the turn coming into the whoops. So if he charges these, it's going to put him in the right spot.
You just need to be up next to him, or maybe half a vehicle on the inside. He's driving. Look at that. That's great racing, though, and they are both actually closing in with a white flag coming out. Finally, we see the white flag in the Pro Stock UTVs.
And what I love to see racing like this, where guys are racing hard and they're working on each other, pushing a little left, a little right, but they're not chopping each other off like the spotter saying, he's on your right, and they're hanging a hard ride. So great racing for second place between Martin and Lunderby.
Great speed shot, high speeds even in the UTVs, no matter whether it be the stock or the mod. CJ Greaves trying to go for that perfect season. This is round 12. He has 11 wins already in 2017 in the Pro Stock. Can he complete that? You're not going to make any passes probably if everybody's playing follow the leader, but I think CJ Greaves has one more turn till he takes this win. Making that left, no problems on 4 wheels. CJ Greaves, Monster Energy, Yamalu, Maxxis, Yamaha from Abrams, Wisconsin is 12 for 12 in 2017. Second place goes to Jake Lunderby on his Yamalu Method Racing Performance Yamaha. Third place, Zach Martin, another solid finish for him on that SOB built Motorsports Yamaha out of Georgia. We'll hear from him when we return.
designed for your journey.
When it comes to guarding your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance enthusiasts demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
What a beautiful day, a slight breeze, a little warm temperatures. The track is absolutely perfect, and we're just kicking off our pro races today, and the Pro Stock UTVs, the first to go here at the Kenda Final Rounds, the penultimate stop of TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. Let's go down to the winner of the Pro Stock UTVs. He's now the Pro Stock UTV champion for 2017, CJ Greaves, and he's still undefeated, Kate.
He's one step closer, one race closer, if you will, to getting your 13-peat, which you set out here at the start of the season. Those restarts definitely play a toll on you drivers mentally. How did you actually, what was your takeaway, I guess, with those restarts?
Yeah, you know, it was like, it's like giving the second place shot one more shot at you every time. I mean, you get out to a little bit of a lead, and then they'd throw a caution. And then we got out to a little bit of lead again, and then we got another caution. It was like just on repeat. I think that was one of the longest UTV races I've ever been in. But these Yamahas just continue to do their thing. They can run every lap, whether it's a 15-minute race or a 30-minute race. They seem to live at 110% the whole time. So just can't really thank all my crew, Mike and Little Jakers and Zach and my girlfriend and my whole family and Yamaha, Yamalube, Steve, Glenn, all these guys that come out here to help us out. Monster Energy, Maxxis Tires, Impact Suits, Luke from Beyond Redline. It's swept the whole series so far. So anyone who says his airbox and flashes and where it's at, I think there's something to be shown there for sure. So we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. We made some big shock changes last night that definitely got this car going in a better direction, and we'll continue to do that.
The big question is he going to be a 13-peat season for CJ Greaves?
Yeah, he takes that Yamaha checker flag first for the 12th consecutive time, and a big smile on his face. Jake Lunderby, his buddy, in second. Keeps knocking on the door, but I don't think CJ is going to let him in. Not at this rate, but we still have one more round to go. This is a 13-round series, but Jake Lunderby, I don't know, Kate, does he got something for him at that final stop?
You know, that's a big question. You know, do you have something for CJ there in that final stop? What do you think?
I don't know. I was making quite a few mistakes, and Zach actually caught up to me, but I was able to, I took the left-hander there one of the few times and was able to hold them off, but they both ran a great race, and I couldn't thank everybody enough that helps me out. Yamalube, Yamaha, Luke from Beyond Redline, Monster Energy, Maxxis Tires, Method Race Wheel, Fox Shocks, everybody from Power Sports 1, and my spotter, Zach, he did a good job, and the Cosmenkis, they helped us out a lot. Thank you.
Another podium for Jake Lunderby.
Keeping it real also, it will help him in the championship point standings as well. As you see, Lunderby gets by Poynton when Poynton has that big rollover crash. Martin, he's comfortable. He's wrapped up second place, but it is CJ Greaves who is the 2017 TORC Series champion. The only question is, can he remain undefeated? Zach Martin, he finished his third, and it was a good race. He kept the pressure on.
It was a good race for sure, Robbie. You know, Zach, you didn't make it easy there for Jake to get that second. You were pushing him the whole way. How much has consistency paid off for you this season?
Well, you know, I got a couple of sportsman drivers that race too. I got them going this year, and I told them the biggest thing to winning championships is being consistent. You know, you don't have to win every race. The only person more consistent than us was CJ Greaves. Obviously, he's got the championship locked up, but, you know, we're right there in second. We've been top 5 every single race, so it's got to be consistent to win too.
I noticed that as well. He has been in top 5 every single race. That is consistency. Zach Martin.
Yeah, throwing the shakas out there, and they're prepping the track, throwing the water down. There's that chocolate cake you talk about as the Caterpillars are on the track, making this track beautiful as we get ready for the next race. It'll be the Pro Mod UTVs up next here at ERX.
Enduro Trailblade tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
When it comes to guarding your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance enthusiasts demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
You know, there's something beautiful about a water truck on a warm autumnal day here at ERX Motor Park. And
what is up with you with the big words, bro?
Well, the autumnal equinox was yesterday. Equal, days. Equal day and night,
Impressive. Quite impressive.
So,
Something about when you're washing off your deck and that smell of wet concrete also, I think guys dig that stuff.
But
what else? You know what else guys dig?
Money.
Money.
Cash money player is the fan. They also dig a few Red Bull and adult beverages in there as well. The VIP section looks like they're filling up nice. And, it is a pleasant day here. A lot of, amphitheater seating, on the hillside, out there in the trees as well. And, some cloud cover at times.
A little bit.
And you notice to the left, that's the actual the pits here. It's not a closed pits at every one of our TORC stops. You, the fans, can, if you're not here and watching us on the video boards, if you're not here, you can go out there and meet the drivers, get autographs, see up close, what it's like, when guys have everything ready, and see what it's like when guys are mad scrambling.
Well, that's the thing. Is that what's great about this, and it's still small enough and intimate enough to where when you come in, the guys rip their fiberglass off, and the kids seem to love it. I don't know how much parents dig taking home a muddy piece of fiberglass, but they're taking home a piece of history.
So put that in the trunk, boy. I didn't say put it in the car.
But so then you see somebody trying to strap a hood to their Pinto to try to go home. It gets a little cumbersome sometimes. But
their Pinto. How many Pintos have you seen in the past few years?
Well, they had a good rust package and undercoating, so I think there's a lot of them up here in Minnesota.
That's funny.
But let's talk about
get it on up there,
the bad mofo.
It was Mikey Vandenheuvel at the last round that won the Vision Wheel Bad Mofo round, and it's available for truck drivers in the Pro Light, Pro 2, and Pro 4 who impress that official judge. That's not been determined because we don't want that outside influence, somebody putting the word going, hey, hook a brother up.
Yeah, give me that. Well, so it'd be like, yeah, well, you just made $150, and I can guarantee whoever's going to win if it's us.
Yeah. Did you say 150?
We know we're going. Yeah, because
the payout's $250, but they're going to win $150.
There's a commission, bro.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
But no, it's great that Vision Wheel does this for the drivers, and I say it every weekend, but it's not just the matter. The cash is great. Anytime you can take your crew out to dinner or whatever the case might be, or your family. But every time you pull this out, it's going to be a conversation, and you're going to remember it. I've won some rings, but I'm not a big ring wearer. I wear my wedding band all the time. My watch I've gotten from Jimmy Johnson was kind of cool, so when I see it, no, I do, but I think of it because he's hooked me up with a little bitch and little Seiko, and so thank you, Jimmy, for that. But things like that. I've won some watches over in Europe and different things and stuff, and when you hit it, it's a conversation piece. So when these guys pull out a wallet, they're somewhere, and they pull out and say, what was that? Well, it's at Elk River, and I won, and blah, blah, blah.
You keep talking to that. I'm going to pull out my conversation piece. Keep going.
All right, so anyhow, thank you, Vision Wheel. This is an awesome opportunity. But let's move on.
Yeah,
Robbie, what do you got?
I like that. I know, Vision Wheel, thank you for doing that. And you get that Bad Mofo wallet, and you go later tonight, and you're partying it up. You pull out $250, and everybody says, you know what? That's one Bad Mofo. You see in the Caterpillar as well, moving that chocolate cake, and there's a perfect example. To the right, when you're making that batter, it's all dry ingredients, and you mix in the water here, and you get that perfect consistency. That's that. That is it right there in that cat in back. That's what it's supposed to look like, Ricky.
Well, and they're not just taking it and filling it up. You see how they come to the outside, and then they drag it across, and then they pack it with the track. They're going down a little bit because we've had a lot of rain up here, in the past couple of days. We're looking for possibly some rain this afternoon. My GPS says no, but still, the way they work the track back and forth, it makes it very consistent, and for guys to race side by side. The first to the first couple laps, but then it starts to get rough where you got to get off that main line. So this is so far a great racetrack.
All right, one thing about TORC is we've got a lot of special talent, young and old, but a new series that started last week. You could follow it at www.youtube.com/TORC. It's called the Young Guns series. We'll take you a little behind-the-scenes look at what Young Guns is all about. And again, it started last week, but next up will be October 4th at 7 p.m. Central. So stick with us. It's the Young Guns on youtube.com/TORC.
A new generation is rising, an inevitable force primed to lay claim to what is theirs. This is Young Guns.
The Young Guns, a couple of 50 caliber specialists out there ready to hammer down here at ERX, and several of them. It's not 1, 2, it's 10 to 20 or more as we see the handshake celebration going on there for the Pro Stock UTVs. And I talked about the accessibility. I'm Robbie Floyd. This is Ricky Johnson. Kate Osborne has been at her trackside. She always gets to meet the fans and stuff. But I want to talk about fan experience and how accessible it is. A lot of times you have to go to a dealership or whatever to meet the fans. And that's not necessarily the case. You can go down there to Cam Reimers. He's got his card stock with his Liquid Wrench 21. He'll sign stuff for you. And I was visiting a buddy's house, and he was an old teammate of yours, and I saw something, and you signed this. I want you to look right there. That is a Ricky Johnson card from back in 1988. So you probably took this picture in 1987. And you're just as accessible today as you were back then. I got this for a friend of mine, but I had one firsthand because you were my boy. You were the one that I picked. I had David Bailey. He was good and all, but Ricky's the guy that I'd like. But that's how easy it is, though. Here, you don't have to go to somewhere. You basically come here, and you can meet everyone, and Johnny will sign, or CJ, or any of those guys.
Well, and in Supercross, now you have to go and you have to draw a ticket and stand in line. So
Right.
then if you don't get to meet all the different guys, and so because it's gotten so big and so out of hand, and we see TORC going in that direction.
Right.
But it's great as you come and you're a part of the beginning. It's just like when they were racing stock cars on Daytona Beach and racing the USGP at Carlsbad and stuff like that. But you go there now and it's closed pits most of the night. You can't get in and out. But here you can watch all the emotion, all the things, all the thrashing that's going on
For the price of entrance.
For the price of entry. It's not you buy this plus a parking pass plus a pit pass plus all the different stuff. You get a general admission ticket. You can go sit where you want. If you want to go in the grandstands, go on the other side. So it's a great event. And one of the things that people don't realize, and I've heard so many people talk about it, is when you come and watch this live, you don't just see it, you feel it. You feel them hit the dirt so hard. The 4,000-pound vehicle shakes the earth, and when you have that much horsepower, and you hear basically thousands of horsepower all together coming around, it just vibrates your chest, and it's great. So it's just everything. The dirt's flying, the fiberglass is flying. It's awesome. Come see a race.
Yeah, come on out here, and you can see both the Pro Light, Pro 2, Pro 4, but also some UTVs. Coming up next, the Pro Mod UTVs. It's been exciting so far in 2017, and we've got probably the tightest points battle you'll see coming up next.
For 41 years, winning drivers in all forms of motorsports have relied on VP Racing Fuels for leading-edge technology to optimize performance and power them to the winner's circle. Now you can get the same benefit with VP Additives, formulated for gas and diesel engines. It's race fuel technology for your daily driver, and the perfect way to clean out your fuel system and put the power back in your drive. VP Additives are available at your local AutoZone store. For more information, visit vpracingfuels.com.
It's TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL at ERX Motor Park. It's the Kenda final rounds in our final UTV race. Ready to line up and get ready to go. The Pro Mod UTVs up next. So we're done with the Pro Stocks. It's time to bring up the Pro Mods. And in this one, the pole sitter is, I'm not sure how that happens on there. I've got pole sitter of CJ Greaves. Oh, I know how it is because it's done from qualifying. At the last round, even though it was yesterday here at ARX, they'd already qualified some 3 months ago. But here, today, they had to qualify. So when I see CJ up there, he must have been one of our top qualifiers on the day. But then again, Kyle Cheney back and forth. Maybe he was the top qualifier and they inverted.
Right. So to tell the story on that, which some people might be kind of confused, is that the top qualifier has the unruly duty of pulling a P, and it's either a 0 or a 6. So we'll find out who sat on the pole.
I'm thinking it was Kyle. Well, I don't know.
We don't know that. So it could have been CJ Greaves first and pulled a 0. It could have been Johnny Greaves. He pulled a 2. It could have been Kyle Cheney. He pulled a 4. We don't know. So we'll find out those details. But what I do like is that Kyle Cheney was very fast working his way up, and then CJ Greaves felt he had something for him, but he had a mechanical in the last round.
And he started in last place, too, because he was not a regular contributor to TORC. He jumped in for that, so he had to start in last at the last round. Today, it's gone off qualifying.
And he was just on the track. I mean, literally, he just went from the podium, jumping right back in the seat to go for another round. So they're trying to help their man Ronnie Van Eperen, who had had a terrible motorcycle crash. Him and Johnny Greaves went out to do a vet race, broke his collarbone. They had that plated, broke 3 ribs off his spine. He punctured a lung. He wasn't breathing. It was
bad.
Pretty severe deal.
He's here. He's here.
Yeah, he's here. Actually, he's spotting for Johnny. If we look up there, we could probably pick him out. He's the one standing probably very straight and no one around him.
I'm looking to see if that's him on the far left there in the blue.
That might be him. That might be him in the Yamaha. Just touching the radio right there on the far left of your screen. Has both hands up.
And I would know if I could see the inside of his left arm because it is, massively blue. It is bruised.
It matches that, and there we see fire him up. So these guys are going on the track.
And I think that is Rodney that was second to the left up there. So you got the bird's eye view up there looking down at the track. And yeah, Rodney, heel up, get ready, because Johnny is actually racing for him or getting his driver points. So you'll hear Johnny Greaves' name, but he's actually driving Rodney's vehicle and getting driver points for Rodney. They had to establish that at the first of the year. But hey, if there's anybody that's going to sub, that's my guy.
Yeah, I mean, you're like, who do I want? Well, I could have Johnny Greaves, the winningest guy. He's won in every vehicle he's ever raced, or I think I'll take Johnny.
Yeah, I think Johnny will work. But neither one of those guys were the fastest. With the fastest straight lap at the last round, I think it was Kyle Cheney. Kyle Cheney took the win at the last round. Something about that Can-Am, everything hooked up. He said he threw a new clutch in, and you could tell that clutch was biting on me because he was getting a lot of forward bite. In comparison, those other guys might have been shifted, but that automatic was grabbing.
Well, and he also said that he's done a lot of work on it. The motor, he felt he did a little bit there with the clutch. Also, he was saying about the Fox shocks, dialing them in.
Yes.
So it seemed like it handled a lot better, a little more plush, and it wasn't beating him up as much, and he was able to attack the bumps a lot more. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does, because that thing takes off so hard when it takes off out of the corner, because it's got that clutch where Johnny and CJ have that
drop it down a gear.
Well, they have to shift their gears. It's a sequential, just like a motorcycle, up and down, but this is forward and back. But still, nonetheless, you still have to shift.
The Yamaha Pace vehicle leads the way as we're heading towards that green flag. They'll make this left. As you look at the starting lineup, CJ and Johnny Greaves starting side by side. CJ in the 822, Johnny in the 845, Eric Gordon, Kyle Cheney on that second row, Zach Zakowski, Brad Sievers in 6. So watch out for Brad Sievers also. We've got a little more to talk about him in just a bit.
Look how hard Cheney's car comes off the line. Really, really strong. He's that Dayglow yellow and black Can-Am. You see him down the far right side of your screen, and already we're showing a yellow, so I don't know if they must have had a big crash. They're probably going to a complete restart.
Yeah, because if there's yellows in front of you and they haven't had a lap done yet, something is wrong way behind you. So they'll do a complete restart here. So let's take a look at what happened, Ricky. There it is.
That's a hard hit. A couple guys.
That's leading into turn 1. Yeah. All right, where is it going to go down? Somebody's pushing way wide there. He ain't going to be able to turn, is he?
He gets roosted in the eyes. He can't
He's
see.
on the
He
outside.
goes out. He backs into the wall, spins him around, and now here comes the Yamaha off the outside
Oh, he's
trying
got
to
it too.
stop. He's got it down. He hits the wall on his own and then climbs up. So they did not have contact with each other, but hard contact with the wall.
And in that case, you know, if you get a straight push or an understeer, you're turning the wheel and the front end wants to push. That looked like a four-wheel drift into the wall.
Well, and that's what people say. If you look at the angle, see where the edge of the TORC safety vehicle is, from there it kind of flattens off a little bit. So the bank is not consistent all the way out. So a lot of times people say, why doesn't the guy use that outside? But if you get up past that 3/4 mark, it flattens off the vehicle, loses downforce, and not downforce from the air, but just mechanical downforce, and pushes it out.
Right, as in mechanical grip. Let's take a look again at what happens. And we try and relate this to other racing. NASCAR, you see it, and it's called getting out in the marbles. That's hard. We saw it in slow-mo that first time. But that's basically like getting out of the marbles. You can turn, do everything you want. You're not going to bring it back.
And that was our man Brad Sievers that we talked to before the show. He jumped into the wall really fast. But we see that he's still maybe just a little bit groggy because, and this is good. I always love to see a driver get out on his own. I know that they don't like that, you know, that the race is over for him, but it's great to see him get out on their own.
As we see Brad Sievers out there in that 880, the Mystic Lubricants Polaris, he's a guy who's actually had problems with addiction, and that's been his story. And people follow him week after week on Facebook and hear his story, and he basically shows that I've had my problems in the past. I'm a new man. You can do it too, no matter if it's, you know, drugs, alcohol, whatever it may be. I'm showing you that it can be done. Let's go to Kate Osborne really quick.
Well, here was something interesting that Johnny had told me earlier today. Get this. So he wasn't actually quite comfortable in Rodney's car, in the makeup round. In his first round out there, it was paddle shift. So he actually switched cars with CJ. Interestingly enough, CJ's now driving Rodney's original car. That was paddle shift. Johnny went back and is now driving the car that CJ drove in the makeup round, as it was actual just shifting, which is what he was used to. And it was interesting. He said he's hoping that makes a big difference, as he knows he's chasing down the championship and making sure that Rodney is the one to have it.
So, yeah, well, muscle memory, Kate, and you're absolutely right that Johnny Greaves has been running that manual sequential shifter in his Pro 4 for so many years. CJ jumps around and does a lot of different stuff, plays a lot of video games and things like that, so he's more ambidextrous with his hands. And you know, you guys are laughing at me, but it's true. So Johnny Greaves is constantly using that right hand to upshift and downshift and stuff like that. He's very comfortable, where CJ, you know,
he's A button, B button, shift, left, left, bump.
He doesn't have a problem with it.
Well,
so
actually,
that's a good point.
To your point, Johnny was like, well, CJ can just drive anything. So regardless if it was video games or perhaps it was his
like
experiences, but he could just drive anything. He knows
It's kind of like Ricky. Ricky's emoji game is unbelievably strong. You've seen it, memes, emojis. You can do
They
that.
are the
Meme game is
best.
strong.
That is something that RJ, you do have going for you, for sure.
You can follow him on Instagram, Facebook, all the stuff. You've got a strong emoji and meme game.
Your Bitmoji needs a little TLC, but
Yeah,
that's okay. You look
it
about
doesn't look
40.
like me. They don't make one that doesn't have eyebrows.
Well,
so hey, let's
that.
go back to Brad Sievers. We talked to him before the race, and he was saying that he found some things to keep the clutch cool, because the problem with the Polaris is they're running so much horsepower.
Don't give
in
away
that
all
belt.
his secrets. Don't give away. He'll
I'm not
mad
going to
at
give away
you.
all of his secrets, but he found something to keep the temperature down. I also talked with Travis Pointer. He said the same thing, that they have so much horsepower that they're killing belts in this mod class. So what they're trying to do is find a way to keep these things cool, and I'm going to throw it out. What Brad said is that when he flies really far off the jumps and when he comes completely out of it, they have a laser that shoots that gives the temperature. It drops it down significantly, so it helps him to launch it. It may not be the fastest when it comes to, you know, you want to get back on the ground and hammer it, but by being in the air and letting that thing cool off, you get a little bit more time on a belt before it blows up.
Yeah, and then it'll last a little bit longer, grab a little bit longer, won't spin and everything else. So yeah, that's something, and that's just something that he identified and doing things to try and keep that cool. But it's also interesting to point out, in those Can-Ams or Polarises or Yamahas or whatever it is, so much horsepower being, you know, put down to the ground. Sometimes you got to find that weak link, and what is that weak link? This might be a belt issue. Stronger belt might not be the thing, or how do you make those adjustments to keep things going?
It's a lot like you figure your stock truck. You know, Ford, Toyota, Nissan, Chevrolet, everybody, they test all these different things, and when they sell you the vehicle, it's got the right size tires for the axles, the right size axles for the driveline, the right size driveline for the transmission, and so on and so on. What do? You go put 44s on it, and you wonder why you're snapping axles, why you're snapping drive shafts, and all these different things. Because what happens is when you create better performance in one issue, something else happens. And in this case, the motor, okay, then you have the belt that runs the traction, that's now the weak link. So this is the Polaris is unbelievably fast and strong, but now they have to figure out their belt technology to improve that a little bit.
Yeah, and or the cooling and something like that. So yeah, when you start adding those things, that's a great analogy with especially guys building up their trucks and doing the things like that. It'll show up. Some of that weak link always seems to find itself. So much like in the Pro Stock UTVs, the Pro Mod UTV starting off on a slow note. We're going to go to break and come back in just a moment. Hopefully we'll have that restart of the Pro Mod UTVs here in a bit. Got you now. Bye y'all. Watch it now.
Designed for your journey.
Maturo Trailblade Tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
Hey, looky here, Ricky Johnson. They're lined up side by side. This should be a full restart. CJ Greaves on pole, Johnny Greaves outside of him. So the 822 is CJ with his dad's number. He's on the inside, but it looks like Johnny, the 45, gets a better start on the outside. Was that planned or was it not planned?
Well, they're wanting to help their buddy out, but I think both these guys want to win this race as well. Johnny is down, as Kate said, is in the car with the sequential shifter, so let's see what he can do with his son, CJ.
As I mentioned earlier, it's a 9-point differential. Kyle Chaney has the advantage. We'll find out who had the top qualifier in a bit to find out who got that extra point. You see Chaney kind of closing in a little bit on CJ there in a tight pack, but you know that XPS Can-Am of Kyle Chaney, he's just found something. He's going quicker. Let's find out. Kate Osborne, you got more?
One thing that Johnny Greaves said about Kyle Chaney and knowing what he was up against was he is super consistent. There was one day here in the season back at Crandon that he should have had a bad day, and he still saved it, getting a top 5 finish. He says he knows how to get the job done, and his experience definitely pays here.
And Chaney, the series points leader, and you look at his point tallies, his worst finish of the year was a 5th place at the 2nd Crandon. And other than that, it was all 1st, 2nd, and 3rds.
And in my mind, he's got to be points racing a little bit. You know, we've seen Kyle Chaney run 100% all the time, and I don't think he's holding back, but he's also in a very good spot. If he loses a couple points to Rodney Van Eperen, all he needs to do is start tomorrow, and he can pull this thing home. So is he points racing? Only he knows.
Yeah, and as you look at it right now, there's a 9-point advantage coming into today for Chaney. He's losing 4 points on the racetrack. 2 between the gap between 1st and 2nd, 2 the gap between 2nd and 3rd.
Well, watching the lap time, we see that CJ Greaves is 0.2 faster than Johnny, but so he's keeping him in check. But Cheney doesn't have anything for him at this point. But he also knows.
Does he have to, right?
No, that's the thing. I would save my vehicle at this point. Let these guys run as hard as they can. I know I don't have anybody pushing me behind. I would save my vehicle and put out 100% the last half of the race.
Eric Gordon back in 4th place, I believe, the 887 out of Pennsylvania, the Method Race Wheels Rugged Radios Can-Am. See Tim Farr back in 5th. Farr's actually, where did he start? He started in 9th, so he's already made up 4 spots. Travis Pointer's made up 8 already. He started in 16th, and he's moved up into 6th. He keeps moving up. Watch out for the #1 rider, last year's champion in the Pro Mod UTVs. Travis Pointer on the Bikeman Performance Crash Addict Polaris. Look for him. He's already up inside that top 6, and we have the competition caution at the halfway point.
Well, Travis is a great story. You know, I mean, he does a lot, you know, the cross countries, the GNCC races and stuff like that. And he hasn't had the kind of year that he wanted to. It's kind of like they call the sophomore jinx or whatever. After you win a championship, it always seems something goes wrong with you. But he is that crash addict. He builds cages for these things, so he's not just a one-trick pony. A lot like Johnny Greaves. He's trying to be a self-made man.
Look at how, that's the farthest I've seen a UTV fly.
Yep, we were talking to
and that's the old man, by the way. That's Johnny.
Yeah, he's not afraid to send it. But we talked to Brad Sievers. He says I could maybe get 200 feet or something. It looked like Johnny just got about 160. So the lap times that these guys are running are very close to Pro 2 times. Johnny Greaves with the fastest lap that time with a 52.8, CJ with a 52.9, and then Cheney with a 53.3. So Cheney back a little bit, but remember, we are going to have a competition yellow.
And Travis Pointer, 5th fastest lap time and having to work his way through the traffic. So Johnny, CJ, 1 and 2, Cheney, Farr, Gordon, and Travis Pointer back there. Look for the #1. Should be him right there on the Bikeman machine.
There he is, big red #1 from last year.
And he's going to lose that plate. And I mean, you want to talk about bad luck this season. We talked about how he's moved up 10 spots right now. You kind of get to that point where that separation's really going to cost him. But he had big hopes. Bikeman had big hopes for him. And it started off terribly at the start of the season, and he just really couldn't catch up.
Well, a lot of times, you know, when you win, you sometimes expect it, and sometimes things just don't fall into place. Now, I don't think this is coming from Travis. Oh, we see another driver over. No. Now, that could be Farr because it is a Dayglow orange, which is the same color as his, but I can't give you that.
That'd be 4th place if that's the case in that thing. But no, talking about Travis Pointer, his best finish this year, Ricky, is an 8th.
Yeah.
I mean, that is unbelievable.
But he's challenged for the lead multiple times, so it's not a matter of speed. It's a matter of they've had that problem with the clutches as well. And I talked with him day before yesterday, and he was saying the same thing. We just got to get belts to lift. So that, when you're pumping that much horsepower, that is the Achilles heel.
Okay, 6 laps down, 6 more to go. We're at that halfway point. What do you got, Kate?
You know, I just wanted to add about Travis there. He is a guy that last year when we kicked off the UTV program here at TORC, he really showed up. He really showed that he knew how to get the job done here, and was really excited to watch him. I think we all had high hopes for him, as he did himself there at the start of the season. And like you guys said, he never really got back around, whether it was mechanical issues. He does have the skill, though. That is something we do know. And as you see today, obviously, when the car is working accurately, he can drive it.
Absolutely, and he's a gamer. He's not just a short course guy. He does GNCC, and that was Farr, I think.
Yeah, he came from Moto, and yeah, Farr, if he does drop out of that picture, is that the case? We can't see back there in 4th.
Can't see quite that far.
But yeah, Pointer a win back at Bark River last year, but he never finished in 5 rounds. He never finished out of the top 4. This year, he can't even get in the top 5. So mechanically, you at first. To finish first you must finish, Ricky,
exactly.
And that's been the case for him. But this really kind of helps him, and that's why I said that separation, him making all of those passes early on, that separation hurt him. It finally caught up to him. Now it's going to be nose to tail, and he's either going to be in 6th or 5th place, and maybe he has something for him. Maybe they figured something out this weekend.
Well, he could be the spoiler here. I mean, everyone's been focusing on Ronnie Van Eperen.
We're getting, was that smoke or was that fencing that I saw coming through there? It might have been fencing. All of a sudden I saw something white and it looked like it was smoke, but I think that was just Sorry, Ricky. Sorry, Ricky. You're firm. You've been working.
I need to talk to Human Resources, please. Color guys being abused.
Is there? Why
Whitey.
Is that Whitey? And see if he's going to make a lap, you know, pass
bump those guys out of the way.
Yeah, the Yamaha
pace vehicle.
Pace vehicle leading out the UTVs. We'll see our Toyota Vescandido Toyota truck leading a little bit later.
Rocket Richie Kuloff out there in front, setting the pace. Gotta love Richie. There is nobody more dedicated to off-road, I believe, in the world than Richie Kuloff.
Tina does pretty good too.
No, Tina's awesome. They're a great duo when it comes to short course, but Richie loves. I mean, from the very beginning, he loved Jack Flannery and everybody all along the way. So he's been a fan since the time he was a little kid.
Synonymous with Brandon as well. As we take a look at this parade lap, it's a little cool down, if you will, as they'll make a left-hand turn to get ready to start again. Johnny Greaves, CJ Greaves, 1 and 2, with Kyle Cheney's going to start right on their tail.
And I was wrong. That was Jason Luberg that went up and over.
Okay, Luberg, and I didn't. If he went over, he had actually scratched, is what I'd been told before. So if that was Luberg, that's something to look for as well. Because look at the launch by Cheney. Look at Cheney jumping to the inside when he made contact. I thought he had to get into CJ there. How did he shut her down?
He bumped him a little bit, but he was very polite. Now look at him run on the outside. You can see how hard that Can-Am is. But watch CJ. He's going to hold the inside and force him around the outside. And then CJ will probably he takes the inside lane, so see what we have coming out, because you can see the pace of Cheney at this point, running very strong.
It is go time. You can see he's lighting it up now, Ricky. There is no more weight left in Kyle Cheney. He needs to get at least one back.
Johnny Greaves sending it off the start line, coming in really hot, jumping about 170 feet in a side-by-side. That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, especially you don't want to get in that endo, and you see a lot more drive again. This is it. KPS or XPS dives to the inside. Now he's got CJ set up. CJ's out of position, but can he drive around him on the outside?
We shall see right now.
Nope, not going to happen. CJ drops back. He's back to third. And now you'll see CJ put the pressure on because he knows to help Roddy. And a big push by Cheney. He's going to lose a spot, or will he? This is going to be a heck of a drag race through the exits.
Johnny Greaves goes up a little bit high and then squares it off. So right now Cheney hits the wall a little bit. He comes out just ahead of CJ as CJ comes back.
Oh no, my friend. It's CJ on the inside, and he gives him a face full into that left-hand turn.
And this helps Johnny get out in front, and that's exactly what they're looking for, to create a little space so Cheney has to work these last couple laps.
And CJ actually doesn't mind if Tim Farr closes in far back there in fourth. If he wants to get in there and mix it with Cheney, that could be another person that'll help out Van Epperen's chance at a title.
Cheney back up the inside, but then he holds off and shoots down early, trying to get a run. Gets a little sideways in that little bit. We talked about CJ knowing the dirt is helping him out at this point.
That's scrubbed a little bit too much speed. Cheney is without question faster in that stretch, though, don't you think?
Shoots right up the inside, puts a little bit of fender on him, but now where does he go? He goes to the right one more time.
Hey, Ricky, don't you think Kyle Cheney's being pretty friendly with CJ there? I'm surprised he didn't just give him at least a little nudge.
Well, what you don't want to do is create havoc and then have Farr, who's right back there, in a pouncing spot as well. So if you get into a tangle, you could lose another position. So they're racing great. You wouldn't think that this is for a championship. They're just racing to win, and that's what we want to see.
But Kyle Cheney knows, as it sits right there, he's going to lose 4 points to Rodney Van Eperen in the championship. Again, Johnny Greaves out in front, substitute driving, the designated driver, if you will, for Rodney Van Eperen. He's checking out. CJ came into this race, not a blocker, but a racer that hadn't been in the series in the Pro Mod. He's not blocking, he's racing.
He's racing a good line. And Cheney got a good drive this time, and see if he can make up some time in this right lane as they come through. He looks like he's a little quicker, but he's made a couple mistakes through here, but no, he holds on to it.
You got to pick your spots, Ricky, without question. That last little straightaway where our normal flagging stand is for the restarts, that's where Cheney's quicker. I think if he's going to make a pass, that's where he needs to do it.
We're 2 laps to go, and right now CJ Greaves is in a great spot, and so is Johnny, who's setting in for Rodney Van Eperen. But Cheney has to put together 2 perfect laps if he wants a shot at these guys.
And watch out for the 804, Tim Farr on the Can-Am and the JB Racing Maxxis entry back there in 4th place. He might be a factor in the points as well. Again, for every position, there are 2 points differential for that championship hunt. This is the second to last round. There's only 1 more round after this, the Kenda final rounds.
Good drive. Cheney continues to stay with the right lane, but Farr seems to be nipping on their heels. He's not too far off. You can see he's also in a Can-Am. A little longer wheelbase. I think it's a little bit easier through that sand as we see Cheney's made up a little bit of ground, but we're coming to the white flag.
So this may be it. As white flag comes out for Johnny Greaves, he's hoping to take the win for his buddy Rodney Van Eperen, who's spotting for him today. And you'll see Johnny drive it in hard. No problems there, not on two wheels, but look at this race for second. There's the race for second place. Forget Johnny, he's gone. Watch CJ Greaves, is that plastic flapping on one side. CJ lands a little front end high. There goes Cheney to the inside.
CJ with a great exit, but Cheney with a better run coming to this corner. If he does what he did before, he's going to shoot up the inside, try to make a pass on him, but CJ holds the inside and blocks it, so he has nowhere to go. But Cheney's going to make one last shot on the right lane.
This may be the closest he's been to, Ricky. Look at Kyle Cheney on the left, CJ on the right. That's the inside of the turn. Cheney with a good drive. Rodney Van Eperen's driver, Johnny Greaves, looks like he's going to take the win. Who's going to take second as they head towards that Yamaha checkered flag? It's going to be Johnny Greaves, CJ Greaves, Kyle Cheney, 1, 2, and 3. And our best race of the day so far, and a pair of Yamahas lead that XPS Can-Am of Kyle Cheney, the series points leader. What a race till the very end. The 845 of Johnny Greaves takes the win in the Pro Mods, but also 4 more points go to Rodney Van Eperen over Kyle Cheney.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Rugged radios. Work, race, play.
Hey Steve, where you at?
Experience clear communications through headsets or helmet kits.
I'm up on the hill to your right. Oh, there you are.
Talk vehicle to vehicle.
Keep radio contact going. Copy?
Talk to passengers.
Copy that, I gotcha.
And stream your favorite music. Complete communications for UTVs, base camp, toy haulers, or off-road vehicles. Rugged radios, the authority in communications.
What a day, what a race. The Pro Mod UTVs, and the fans just witnessed an excellent final race of our UTVs this afternoon at ERX Motor Park. It's TORC the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL at ERX Motor Park. The Kenda final rounds, the penultimate stop. 12 rounds now complete for the Pro Mod UTVs. 1 more to go. But what a race for that Graves Motorsports Yamaha. Representing Rodney Van Eperen is Johnny Greaves taking the win. No, not in Pro 4s, but the Pro Mod UTVs.
You know, Johnny, first and foremost, I want to ask you, how much more comfortable were you in this UTV with your manual shifting there rather than back over in the pedal shift?
Well, it obviously made all the difference in the world. You know, I should have made that choice earlier, but you know, in Rod's respect, it felt right to run his car, but it just wasn't working for me. I got too much time in this car, so I said, you know, Saturday's a new day. Let's pick a new car and roll the dice, and it worked out. So hats off to the whole Yamalube, Monster Energy, Toyota, I guess Toyota ain't in this one, but Maxxis Tires and Potawatomi and everybody, and the Greaves team and the Van Eperen team and Power Sports One and everybody. I mean, it was a team effort this weekend. We still got a ways to go, and these guys are definitely running hard, and they're not going to let anything happen easy.
You know, Johnny, you've had a lot of wins in your career. However, is this more gratifying knowing you're doing it not only for yourself, but a win like that is for Rodney? Yeah,
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be out here if it wasn't for that, and like I said, it's unfortunate the reason I'm out here, but I sure am happy to be out here.
Johnny Greaves taking the win here today.
Yeah, doing it for his buddy. Both motocross racers of old and currently, but Roddy might be backing down that program just a little bit. As you look at the unofficial results, Travis Pointer into 6th, he dropped back 1, but Johnny Greaves able to work his way, or hold his position in first. CJ Greaves, what a fight he had with Kyle Cheney the entire time. He's going to finish 2nd, and that really helps Van Eperen's chance at a championship. Kyle Cheney loses 4 points in that hunt. Let's go down trackside and hear from second place.
You know, I got to say, CJ, I said earlier in the first race that you didn't look tired. You look tired after that one. How challenging was that race?
Oh, you know, it was another fun race. This thing's got a little different steering than our car, and we're just doing everything we can to run up front with these guys. I got to thank Rod and all of his crew for getting this thing ready for us to run out here. And we had some cheap shots taken on us and some missed, so we'll see what happens. We're going to keep racing for 1 and 2, and that's all we can do is race our race. If that's how they want to play, then that's on them. So we'll keep running hard. We got fast cars, good crew behind us. My dad, he was freaking ripping out there. We're doing everything we could just to hang with him. So all the Yamaha guys, Yamalube, Luke from Beyond Redline, Ames, Power Sports 1, all these guys that help us out. We appreciate it, and we're going to keep moving forward.
Definitely racing between CJ Greaves and Kyle Cheney.
Well, you heard CJ there as we look at the championship points. But again, it's Rodney Van Emperen trying to catch Kyle Cheney in the championship points hunt. But I heard something out of CJ right then that I don't know that I necessarily saw in the mix, and he thought that Kyle Cheney might have been doing something behind him. I'm assuming that's who he's talking about, but I thought Kyle Cheney had a pretty solid race and really didn't ram it in there when CJ opened the door. But Kyle Cheney finishes third. He's still the points leader, and he's trackside with Kate Osborne.
You know, I think, Kyle, that was a great run, especially in that points chase right now. You are doing all you can to stay up front in the championship. However, there was just a bit of a conversation there. I want to hear your angle of the story.
I mean, it was definitely a really fun race. Me and CJ, well, he probably didn't notice, but I got close to him a couple times, and I didn't want to sacrifice my car to, you know, kind of maybe give him a bump out of the way. I figured I might be able to get him closer to the end of the race, but he held a tight line, and, you know, Johnny was just kind of up there running his race. I mean, my Can-Am worked great today. I mean, I don't think it could work any better. It's just, you know, maybe I could drive it a little faster. Maybe we'll see what happens tomorrow. But, you know, my tires were great. The Maxxis tires, the DWT wheels, XPS oil, factory UTV skid plates, STM clutches, Evo Power Sports, Addict Racing engines. I mean, this thing's running great right now. CT Raceworks for building me the car. I mean, we had a good day, but we still in the points lead, and hopefully we can wrap it up tomorrow.
Kyle Cheney showing that consistency pays here with another podium finish.
Yeah, and with 1 round to go, if he stays in front of whoever it is, Rodney Van Emperen or Johnny Greaves driving for Rodney Van Emperen, if he stays in front of him, he will win this championship for 2017. TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. We're at ERX Motor Park. The Kenda final rounds will continue right after this.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter. So count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
Yep. Hey, alrighty, we are here at a beautiful day at ERX. You can look down, you can see the podium. They're bringing the drivers up, and the crowd is awesome. What's great is that you might think, wow, it looks a little sparse, but they have seats all over the place through the split lane. They have a wooded area that's like a park. It feels like you're walking through Central Park, but actually with a lot bigger trees.
And the food offerings right here at our compound, they got the capital B, capital R, the brats.
Yeah, and you can see they've tried something a little bit different. They're going into the split lane. You can see the little white chalk on there right where the second tractor is what they've done is they've opened that up, because I talked to some of the drivers and they felt that they were setting up too much for the split lane as they were coming to the corner, and then they weren't racing the corner as well. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more racing and competition when it comes to the bigger trucks, because you can see that even though the side-by-sides are a lot smaller, they still have to, navigate through there because they're rolling through there. Those guys are going about 65 through there, and it gets pretty narrow.
The side-by-side. Not soupy today, but, there is a chance of rain. We want to let the fans in on that, too, and we moved up our schedule ever so slightly to try and get the racing done before it does rain, if that is in case of fact. But as the day progresses, the chance increases for weather, and it's just a fact of racing. So that could also affect how you do things and how you set up the vehicle. And, no matter what, you gotta do the best with the conditions that are in for you. You just don't want them to change, very quickly. But one thing about TORC is we've got a lot of young talent in the field and a new season of the Young Guns. It's a brand new season period. It's the first season of Young Guns. It started last week on September 20th. You can follow it at youtube.com, but every Wednesday night starting last week, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, however you want to do it, at youtube.com/TORC. Check it out.
A new generation is rising, an inevitable force, primed to lay claim to what is theirs. This is Young Guns.
And it might be one of the Young Guns that wins our Vision Wheel Bad Mofo Award. The UTVs, they're not necessarily eligible for it, but as you see the Bad Mofo wallet from this run, they got it on their Bad Mofo. Yep, they've got. This is $250 that's going to go to our winner and the Bad Mofo Award. You see it? Just wrong there. Right there. Custom wallet. Cash money play of $500 a weekend. So solid.
Yesterday we saw Mikey Vandenheuvel. So it took him 4 months, but he swept the weekend.
yeah. 3 months difference between
actually,
our first and last race.
And because they got, we had rain at that round, and
between round 3 and 4, we had to wait 3 months to get it down.
And actually, as he said, he sat back and watched because he didn't have the budget to do the whole season, and he spent his money wisely. He came here and tested and got a lot of laps here, so he's very comfortable with the track, and he's got a great setup. And not taking anything away from him, he drove awesome.
He wasn't really happy about them putting dirt down, though, bringing in more clay, because he wasn't that fast in the first practice. And you do all that testing for that setup, and everything was just, and you think it's going to be the same, and then it wasn't.
Right.
But you know what he found? He had to make those adjustments, and you're right. He's on a limited budget. What was our next round? We went to Crandon and then Bark River, and you were expecting him, because he did so well here, to just do it at Crandon. He said, nope, I've got a plan.
Right.
I'm sticking to it, and he did just that. And so far, you can't argue his plan. Ricky's raced twice, and he's won both times.
And he also is the Vision Wheel Bad Mofo. So
yes,
yesterday's round, congratulations to
round 4.
Mikey Vandenheuvel. He's got great hair. I don't know. He has.
You love people's hair. You are a man of.
I mean, he puts you to shame when it comes to hair product.
You're right. I don't have much in there.
You didn't go big on it, but his would light on fire. If 4th of July, I'm not standing next to Mikey Vandenheuvel. That's spiky stuff.
Flame on.
Boom. But no.
like a transmission fire.
Well, and when we watch this Young Gun show, we're going to see that guys like Mikey, they're not, he grew up watching his father and helping his father, Dan Vandenheuvel. who I'm pretty sure I know that he won some Cup races, was a multi-time Pro 2 winner, and I think he was a World Series champion. But he made sure that he made his own way as we watched these guys pop the champagne. Two familiar faces. One, Johnny Greaves. He knows his way to the podium.
Yeah, they're pounding down that monster water as it is right now. And Johnny and CJ will, leave the fire suit on and get ready for a Pro 4 race here in just a moment. So, yeah, they literally hop out of one truck and into the other.
But then CJ does a wardrobe change because he's got Yamaha on that suit.
Oh, that's true, yeah. So he does have to make the change. Johnny said forget it. I don't have another driving suit here.
CJ's like a male version of Katy Perry or Madonna or Lady Gaga or whatever. A lot of wardrobe changes throughout the days. But
Rihanna. My buddy got to ride with Rihanna. Matt Byton. He was in In Touch magazine. Matt Byton, he's always in touch with himself. But he was in touch. You like that? Where I went with that. He got to ride. He had Rihanna riding on the back of his motorcycle this week. That was pretty cool.
That's pretty slick. Did he go for the high jump?
No.
And pitch her off?
No, all those gold medals. He got him a ride with Rihanna, but not. He didn't give her.
Good for him.
The burp.
But Mikey Vanderpool, will finish that. He's one of the most talented header builders in the series. He makes titanium headers, and you can hear he's an artist. It's not just he doesn't just.
It's not welding pipes and into coming out. There's a science and it's like harmony, like you're talking about, and that is a part of it.
Exactly.
Is that sound and how the air flows through there. It's not just literally welding tubes together and bending them here and there.
And so it's great that he does something other than just a driver.
All right, we're going to take a break again, step aside, and the big trucks. They're coming up next. Ricky Johnson, Robbie Floyd, Kane Osborne. We're here all afternoon here at ERX Motor Park. Glad you could be with us.
Trailblade tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
When it comes to guarding your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance enthusiasts demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
What a pretty afternoon. You can actually see some of the trees starting to turn color a little bit, starting to go from green to brown as we're in the first day or the second day of autumn here in the forest of northern Michigan, just about 45 minutes outside of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Elk River, Minnesota. I'd like to welcome everybody to TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL at ERX Motor Park, the Kenda final rounds, and see all the nice parking, the camping that's out there.
And there's a split lane. If you notice at the beginning part of it, you can see a little bit of the grass
white.
across
they
the
put
top.
White there now.
Right, but notice the top of it, but in that second left-hand or in that left-hand corner, see how they've stacked it up even taller? Because I was talking to Andrew Carlson, he was like, man, they need to do something, and talked to a lot of the different drivers. The roost, the guy on the inside just loads up the guy on the outside. So that was awesome that they did that. They added probably about 2 foot. I don't know how much it's going to help, but at least they're making an effort. That's what I love about it. It's a dirt track. It's going to change every lap that we're out there with this much horsepower and 35-inch project tires with big, massive grooves and stuff in it. The track is going to change constantly, but they're making an effort.
And I don't know how long that white spot had been there in the middle, but that is an excellent idea, and it may get touched and knock over and done stuff. But yeah, that visual, that Barry, if you're seeing brown on brown, it's hard to make that call. And you hit that thing like your boy did last year. I mean, it gets ugly fast.
I was thinking it'd be a good run. Brown on brown, hold her down. White on brown, shut her down. Yeah. So now here we go going into turn 1, and you can see the difference in the angles. A lot of people think, why doesn't somebody just rail the outside? Because they got it sculpted on the inside, so that it's a little bit more banked on the inside, but as it gets up to the top, it doesn't flatten off, but it changes a couple degrees. And as the suspension is loaded, you get high. We saw that in the UTV race. You get up there, if you get roosted, and that's because you're right in prime roost area, you can't see the wall and it pulls you into it.
Yeah, and Brad Sievers, unfortunately, in the Pro Mod UTVs, hit that wall on the outside, and that leads you to a massive jump as well. And I'm trying to think, who was it? It was Chad Rayford last year. Oh, not that jump. That's the finish line jump. I thought we were talking about the ski jump. There's a finish line jump where we were seeing Johnny Greaves literally just boosting off of, landing down there farther than anybody I've seen. I don't think I've really seen a truck jump any farther than what I saw Johnny in the UTV.
Yeah, we couldn't see exactly, but it looked like he was getting about 185 feet, which that's a long ways. I mean, it's a long ways is in anything, in a truck. You know, we see Todd LeDuc, who's in the monster truck. Monster truck, yeah, say that twice.
Yeah.
He's been doing some phenomenal things. Leo O'Donnell's another driver that runs short course. David Bradshaw was an old motocrosser that did it, but they don't jump, you know, they jump that far, but they have these giant wheels, giant tires, giant suspension. Here we're jumping down hills, helps you out a little bit. It's a little bit more like a ski jumper, but still, nonetheless, when you're in the air that long, you think about stuff.
And that camera is at the 200-foot marks. That kind of gives you it. And also the takeoff, you can't see it. You're just seeing the backside and where it from. But for every foot, an additional foot or yard or however far you're going, you're talking about 200 feet, 2/3 of a football field. For every little bit of distance, if you're in a perpetual endo or that nose is diving or coming up for that matter, things get bad in a hurry. Because if it is lifting like Scott Douglas did in practice, you can't see a darn thing, Ricky, and you're at the mercy. If you're endoing, which is the front end diving down, you're seeing everything going, I can't get out of it.
Well, yeah, you see one, all you see is sky, and you don't know how much sky. Are you looking backwards? Are you looking slightly forwards? Or when you see dirt, and all you can see is dirt. Pretty much when you're at that point, some people say that you can rev up the motor to get the front wheel higher, kind of like a motorcycle, or lock up the brakes to get the wheels to come down a little bit. That works on motorcycles, and it's all, if you do it on the takeoff, you can get that same reaction. But when you're in the air, you're like a knuckleball. You're just flying. And so I just kind of relax and enjoy the ride, and hopefully I land on at least two wheels and then drive it out.
Yeah, that perpetual endo is the scariest thing, I think so, as far as racing in anything, because that's just that feeling of, you know, you turn that clinch factor up to about 1,000 on a 100 scale, and you just say, Lord, be with me today. As you see the Pro 4-wheel drives lining up, Ross Hook on the left, Scott Douglas on the right. A good field. Oh, the flamingos are out. You see a few drops there. I don't think that's rain, but it may be. It might just be bugs. Might be time to go fishing here at ERX.
Yep.
Where's Jeremy Meyer? I do have a rod in the trailer, a rod and reel in there that we brought from the last stop. So might have to do me some fishing after this round. Fish bite in low pressure systems like this. When rain, fish, man, they turn on. Can't tell I've covered the Bassmaster Classic a time or two, have you?
Evidently.
Well, Ricky.
Yep.
We talked about some of the food wares they have here, and we talked about the barats they have over there, but the cookies are fantastic.
Yeah, I noticed how they give us a warning this time, unlike yesterday.
These are delicious.
But so we're looking at the
radar.
At the radar, we're that little pin right about there. And
hang on, that doesn't look so good, Ricky. Where are we? Oh, it's coming our way.
Well, we don't know if it's going north or south, but let me watch what it's doing.
It's going north, buddy.
Well, I know that, but so we have a system that could come towards us a little bit. It seems to be easing towards us a little bit, but let's go racing, and
get it on.
That's why they upped it, and that's what I love about the TORC series. They looked at it last night, so the possibility of showers in the afternoon. Let's up this thing and get going.
Who is it? Barry Wise. Let's get it on.
There we see Keegan Kincaid with the Bass Pro Shops. Awesome to have them on board. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Bass Pro Shops. I don't fish that much, but I love walking through there. I like going in there. My son Jake is a huge fly fisherman. Luke can't fish to save his life. Cassidy gets out there and she'll throw some salmon eggs in a river for some trout. But I just love everything they got going about it, and it's outdoors. And Keegan said he had to miss the first season of duck season.
Those are my kind of people. Love me some Bass Pro Shops. Thanks, Kate. We'll look forward to seeing Kyle here in the pro lights coming up in just a bit. But first up, it's the pro four-wheel drives. 3 different truck classifications that are racing today in TORC. Ricky?
Yeah, well, right there we got the Pro 4s. They're maximum cubic inch 440. Horsepower about 750 to 900 depending on who's turning the wrenches on that. 20 inches wheel travel, 4,300 pounds with a project tire. So this is, they can run different compounds, different casings and stuff like that. It is not a DOT tire. You cannot run it on the road, but it is a custom race tire.
As you take a look at the starting lineup, Ross Hook will be on the inside heading into that first turn. Scott Douglas next to him. Keegan Kincaid, he'll be also on the inside that second row next to Johnny Greaves, CJ Greaves, Al Drews, Brad LaMarche. And it's go time here at TORC. Pro four-wheel drives. Looks like a great run, and getting that power to the ground is Ross Hook.
Ross Hook is one of the only drivers besides Al Drews out there that is running an automatic transmission. So he's got Charlie from ATD that hooks him up, and Scott Douglas with a very aggressive move coming into the hairpin.
As you see 3 wide going to that left turn and diving to the inside, Johnny Greaves. Is he really going to go from 4th to 1st? We'll find out on exit. I think Johnny just sit there and watched all this madness happen in front of him, and he just took the lead, Ricky. He
went from all the way from the outside to the inside. This is exactly what he needs if he wants to make points on CJ. So it's a still. This is up in the air when it comes to the championship, and right now, Johnny Greaves is out in front.
Very seldom do you see a 4th to 1st without there being contact or some type of wreck. He just made the right decision.
Well, and I think part of it is that he just got out of a Pro UTV, and he's warmed up. You see how hard he's jumping, so now he's got to get his distances down and not overdrive this Pro 4 because it's so much heavier and so much faster. So once he figures this out, Johnny Greaves could have an awesome race.
Yeah, you're talking about that, and Johnny Greaves. Let's go to Kate Osborne.
Johnny Greaves has said that he needed to make less mistakes. They said that there's smaller mistakes that he felt like he's been making throughout the season, but right now he's realizing in order to get this championship under his belt, it needs to be little to no mistakes.
And you see Ross Hook slamming into those berms. You saw CJ Greaves, the series points leader, lose more positions. And right now, Johnny's out in front, and he has a championship advantage over CJ.
Exactly. And we see Scott Douglas running stronger than he's run for quite a while. Now we see CJ Greaves bringing up the rear. But he has a lot of traffic to get through before we go to competition yellow. He does not want his father, Johnny Greaves, to get out in front and get away.
You see Keegan Kincaid right there. The man has had nearly every round some type of power steering issue. It happened again. They went back to the old setup. They thought they had things figured out. They didn't. Let's see if he can keep power steering for all 14 laps here at this round. I mean, it's the Kenda final rounds, and this is a guy trying to win a championship and doing everything possible to do just that, and that's get out in front and try and check out.
Oh, well, and I'm going to stand behind the fact that Johnny just got out of the side-by-side and he was up to speed. You know, yeah, it looks like it's taken him a couple laps to get his braking distances down and also how hard and realizing how fast he's going. But you can also see how aggressive he is these first couple laps.
Let's go to Kate Osborne.
You know, Johnny actually said that he felt like he was hitting his points in his UTV better than he was hitting in his Pro 4. And I wanted to make sure that, Ricky, to add to that you said that it looked like he's taking a little bit to get comfortable in that truck.
Well, and you're right, Kate, because it's so much easier to stop a side-by-side. It's so smaller and lighter. In this, you're carrying so much more speed. But now we're watching Keegan Kincaid. He's starting to close in as it swaps, gets really sideways, coming up behind Scott Douglas as he looks to the inside.
Shows you how strong these vehicles are. The suspension underneath them, but the chassis, that's a brand new chassis for Keegan Kincaid. Landing flat, landing pretty solid there. Watch the outside to inside move. He negotiates a turn a little earlier. Scott gets pushed wide, a drag race down this straight.
Watch Keegan to shoot from the outside back to the inside, try to put a move on him. Scott running a little bit high, Keegan looking low.
And you notice Keegan trying to get to the ground earlier that time, so he could make that inside move. And look who's closing up from behind, CJ Greaves.
CJ Greaves is just being very methodical, knowing how much time he has. And he sees these guys bumping and banging on each other. There's a good chance that he could get both of them at one time.
CJ with a good run right there because Keegan actually got a little squirrely heading into that split section, but they're still chasing the 7 of Scott Douglas. Amsoil, Rusty's Off-Road, Cooper Tire, Walker Evans Machine, doing a great job there, Douglas is. He's in second. Johnny's checked out. Douglas has a heck of a fight with Keegan and CJ on his tail.
CJ running that jump a little bit shorter with the idea of getting on the ground and driving those wheels off. It's awesome to see guys like Rusty's Off-Road who do a lot with Jeepers and stuff like that, supporting guys like Scott Douglas who have been around this racing for so many years.
And you notice Keegan Kincaid, if you've seen a few times, that truck wants to ride front end high. Let's see if it does it here. It's a pretty neutral riding truck, but at times the front end wants to rise on it, Ricky.
CJ Greaves looking right down the inside, going to rotate, kind of take the short way around. This is going to force Keegan to take the other lane, see who comes out first.
Excellent move by CJ. Look at him. It almost looks like a drift car. It's like he's in Formula Drift, hitting those clipping points. He's going to be outside. He's going to be in fourth, but watch this. He shuts it down. Is Keegan Kincaid, and man, he holds on to that position. Keegan just kept his foot in it, Ricky.
Well, one of these things that we got to think about with CJ is he's eating a lot of roost. Depending where he's at, he's getting a lot of roost coming through that cap, and we've seen people overheat, taking in too much sand. So he has to be cognizant of that.
You're right on Scott Douglas. We haven't really seen the Scott Douglas form until back at Crandon. It's actually 2 rounds ago, but it was the last time we changed tracks. And as Johnny Greaves pulls away from the picture, look at this race for second, third, fourth. Keegan squares it up. It makes him over-rotate, but somebody was underneath.
And you know who's loving this is Johnny Greaves. He is literally a quarter of a track ahead of everybody, taking his time. And so this is going to be difficult for CJ. Right now we're on 7 of 14.
Yeah, and that means the halfway point of the race is here. The competition caution is out, and that's why you saw CJ Greaves trying so desperately to get ahead of Kincaid or Douglas, because he knows Johnny's fast and he only has half the race to prove that he's faster.
Designed for your journey.
For 41 years, winning drivers in all forms of motorsports have relied on VP Racing Fuels for leading-edge technology to optimize performance and power them to the winner's circle. Now you can get the same benefit with VP Additives, formulated for gas and diesel engines. It's race fuel technology for your daily driver, and the perfect way to clean out your fuel system and put the power back in your drive. VP Additives are available at your local AutoZone store. For more information, visit vpracingfuels.com.
Looking at the fastest lap of the race, Johnny Greaves is actually second to CJ Greaves, but only by 3/1000th of a second. If you can see that, then you've got better eyes than me. But we've got a tight battle for these final 7 laps. There he is, CJ Greaves in the 33, back in fourth. That's an unfamiliar position for him as we get ready for the second half of this race. CJ's used to being at least up into third place. Welcome back to TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by Amsoil. We're at ERX Motor Park for the Kenda final rounds. The second to last round of the 2017 TORC season. And we've got a 4-point difference between Johnny Greaves and CJ Greaves, who is the points leader. And Johnny's out in front of this race. And the way it stands right now, Johnny would be a 2-point leader in this championship.
Well, but we have not seen everything that CJ has. He did show that he had the fastest lap. We see Keegan with a big jump. Now CJ looking up the inside. Hopefully they don't get tied up together like they did before.
Good rotation for Douglas, Keegan, but CJ's going to be side by side on that inside again. One more time. How's the vision for Keegan? Keegan gets a little squirrely. CJ gains a little position. He's going to move wide, take over third, and in one lap he makes up a spot, but it's going to be Keegan putting the pressure on back in fourth.
And look at how tight Scott down. Oh, Johnny Greaves, a big launch, 200 foot over that big starting line, and now CJ looking to the inside.
Johnny broke something. Something on that right front.
Jumped so big that he broke something in the right front, just like you said, Robbie. And now CJ looking for the lead.
Douglas is going to have position. CJ's going to try and close it down. And Douglas holds on to the spot. There goes Keegan Kincaid. He's taking a totally different line. Watch out for him. Where does he go, Ricky?
I think we're getting a full course yellow because Johnny, we see yellows out as they came over the jump, and then yellows there because Johnny Greaves is stuck on the track. So Johnny Greaves aggressive. It just went a little too far.
Now, when they go back to the last lap, I'm trying to think of how it was. That's how they picked that up now. And also, could Johnny get things going and ready for the back half of this race or not? Is his day done? As Kate goes over there to try and find out, and Johnny on the radio, helmet's still on, and he's talking, but they're pulling down the net right now. So it looks like there goes the vent hose. Yes, I think he may be done, Ricky. I don't know what happened, but that was a hard hit, and really the first big endo that we've seen.
Yeah, and well, I mean, to classify endo, I mean, he landed on the front wheel, and that's what you kind of go by there. But he sent it really, really far, and I think he just misjudged it because we've been watching CJ come up shorter than everybody. Keegan's been jumping far, Scott's been jumping far, but CJ's been getting on the ground and trying to drive out, make time on the ground.
So it looks like Johnny is going to stay off track, and we're going to restart this race with 6 laps to go. Scott Douglas leads CJ Greaves and Keegan Kincaid. And you see Douglas and CJ just really closed in there. Almost, I don't know what happened to Douglas, but he wasn't getting drive going into that first turn.
Well, I think the very first time he overjumped coming in there, and he wanted to maintain his line, but CJ just stayed behind him and didn't cut on the inside like we saw Andrew Carlson doing yesterday. So Scott Douglas running really aggressive, backing it in, coming into the hairpin before the split lane.
It's safe to say that also Keegan Kincaid has power steering. He's not having to fight that truck as far as turning left and right and side by side. Look at him coming down that straight. And Keegan's got a great seat watching him in third. Douglas holds on to position. You're not going to drive around Scott Douglas this time.
Notice how CJ checks up to get the nose down to get back on the ground. So look for him to shoot underneath, try to get him on the exit.
Scott, I thought it was a little more over rotation, but that's just how he do it. That's how it is at every stop. He tries spinning that truck around, backing her in, drift style.
Douglas running a little bit more of the cushion, CJ down low, and then opens up as he comes over this jump. Probably going to try a different line than Douglas through the split lane.
And if you're Keegan Kincaid back in third too, you might be able to take advantage of a mistake by CJ, like right there. And now CJ sets up for that outside line. I'm not sure that he wanted to be there, Ricky.
And we actually, but it worked out to his advantage. We see him sideways, and now we have a 3-way battle for the lead.
Oh, and a good drive by. You saw Keegan got a better drive. CJ was up in the air. When you're in the air, you can't get that forward drive.
And folks, as a driver, you know, you're watching this kind of a nail-biter. When you're a driver, it's so awesome because there's so many things to think about. Your spotter's saying you're looking on the inside, someone's on the outside, they're right behind you. It's awesome to be in this kind of race.
And if you're CJ Greaves and you're that Mutant Energy Soda sandwich, you're thinking about the driver in front of you, but you don't want to get too crazy or the guy behind you will get by you.
Well, you have to be aggressive, but you have to be patient as well. So let's watch CJ. He's going to probably try to use as much of the inside as possible and take a different lane than Douglas through here. So if he goes right, oh, but he catches up. And look, Keegan capitalized.
I think something happened to Douglas. He lost power, and that's why CJ made the contact, and Keegan's the benefactor of this one. Keegan Kincaid takes the lead, and there's going to be 3 laps to go after this turn. 3 more laps to go in this 16-lap race. Excuse me, 14-lap race.
Keegan at the right place at the right time, was able to capitalize on whatever happened to Douglas. We see him back there, but something has slowed him down.
First time Keegan's had clean air also. How fast can he be? Let's go to Kate Osborne.
in talking with Keegan earlier in that power steering, he said he felt like he lifted weights last time he got out of the truck. He did say, I think we fixed it. I said, you say that every time. He goes, no, really, this time it actually feels fixed. They got a bigger pulley to slow down that power steering pump, and he said he's going for a couple of wins today. He's going to be driving smarter.
You say that it's fixed, and he thinks it's fixed, but it's been given out at different times. He went way wider than he should have into that hairpin turn.
Yeah, exactly. He was a little bit wide. We see CJ looking up the inside. And so what he's done is, as Kate said, he's went to a different size pulley. So what he did is he puts a bigger pulley on there. It slows the pump slower because he thinks with this much RPM, it was cavitating and having problems and then burning out the pump. So Kate is absolutely right. They have made a change more like what he had on his Pro 2, and he's hoping that it works.
But even with this combination, he has had problems with it. He still does not know the fact of what is causing these problems. He's changed pulleys multiple times, and right now, watch this left-hand turn. He had a problem the last time, went way wide.
This time he hits it really good. CJ was patient waiting for a mistake, but Keegan was able to put it together and actually pull about 3 car lengths on CJ.
I think that kind of surprised CJ that he took that line, don't you?
Well, as I'm watching this, Keegan's driving it a little bit more like Kyle LeDuc, where he comes in and he blasts the gas. As we see the white flag, he uses the gas to rotate. So watch as he comes down in here. He turns, hits the gas, gets it to rotate, then settles it, then gets back on the gas. So great adaptation when it comes. Great adapting by Keegan Kincaid.
Still Johnny Greaves out of this race. He looked like he had the championship points lead. CJ's in second. Johnny's going to lose 5 places, would be 10 more points. So unfortunately for Johnny Greaves, Keegan Kincaid, he's still got a shot at this title.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a very far outside shot, but now we got CJ Greaves who hits the wall a little bit, and you see Keegan running. So these guys are not giving up. CJ sideways. Keegan sideways, I'm sorry, with one more turn.
And this is it, the final lap, the final turn. The number 2's been waiting for this moment, and he does it here at ERX. Keegan Kincaid takes his second victory of the year. You add that with the Red Bud victory, and he still keeps himself in the championship hunt. CJ Greaves going to finish second, Scott Douglas in third, but the Bass Pro Shops driver is the fastest in Pro 4.
For 41 years, winning drivers in all forms of motorsports have relied on VP Racing Fuels for leading-edge technology to optimize performance and power them to the winner's circle. Now you can get the same benefit with VP Mattitives, formulated for gas and diesel engines. It's race fuel technology for your daily driver, and the perfect way to clean out your fuel system and put the power back in your drive. VP Mattitives are available at your local AutoZone store. For more information, visit vpracingfuels.com.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by AMSOIL, devoted to protection, and by Cooper Tires. We make tires for people, not just cars.
Well, the fans came out here to ERX Motor Park for the Kinda Final rounds. They got to see an excellent Pro 4-wheel drive race. Not so good if you're Johnny Greaves, who will be 5 laps down in this one and finish 7th unofficially. But Keegan Kincaid held back there, and he was in 3rd place most of the race, but he didn't finish there, Ricky.
No, Keegan did a great job. He looked like he was adapting to the way he's driving. This is his rookie year when it comes to that, but it was still a great drive by Keegan Kincaid.
These fans witnessed an excellent race here at ERX Motor Park for the Kenda final rounds, and the Pro 4 win goes to the Bass Pro Shops #2 of Keegan Kincaid. Kate Osborne's with him down trackside.
This is a special win for you, Keegan. You've had quite a few in your career, but man, this one has to be gratifying. First and foremost, how was the power steering here today?
Hi, it was good, and it feels good to just be able to race. And we were just patient, and got stuck behind Douglas a little bit, and CJ got around me, but I knew if I could hang with them, those guys were going to battle a little bit, and they opened the door for me, and it feels good to get this Bass Pro Shops, True Timber, Cooper Tire truck up on the box. It's amazing, you know, what our team's gone through, and it's been consistent all year. We just haven't had the perfect truck, and we're getting there, and it feels good to be #1 today, and hopefully we can do it again tomorrow.
You told me that you were looking to get a couple of wins here today. How did you see that you had to adapt today? Because that's what we noticed you were doing.
Yeah, you know, the track is changing every time we hit it, and you got to be able to adapt, and CJ and John are really good at that, and I've done well at Redbud, and I think I'm coming around to these tracks a little more and more, and I just can't thank my team enough and my dad and for all the long hours. And we had a pretty bad wreck at Crandon where it took us back, and they worked hard and put this truck back together, and we're on top, so it feels great.
You can see this is one that definitely means a lot to both he and the team.
And boy, you see the relief and the finally it happened once again. I can keep this truck going and show what I'm made of. And Keegan Kincaid did just that as we look at the unofficial results. Your top 3, the top 5 fighting the entire time. But you have to feel bad for Johnny Greaves, who looked like he had the fastest truck, but one mistake cost him this race. But it wasn't just about Keegan Kincaid and Johnny Greaves. CJ Greaves had a hard-fought battle the entire time, not only with Scott Douglas, but Keegan Kincaid as well, and he finishes second and moves farther ahead in that championship points hunt.
Yeah, it's all about the championship points hunt right now. How do you find that difference right now between overdriving it and also knowing that you have to get these points for the championship?
You know, there's no points planning going on there. That was just good, hard racing, and our truck was a rocket ship, man. We stalled it twice back there and had to catch back up to these guys early on. Right in the beginning, we all bottled up and I stalled it, had to get it fired back up. Was able to reel them all in by halfway, so I knew we had a strong truck, and then it was just trying to get around everyone without banging and running clean, and we just didn't have that luck today. I mean, we got inside of Scott a couple times, we ran it clean, and then I think he said he broke second gear or something in the tranny, and I don't know if he was trying to get out of the way or if he just over-rotated, and then that's when it broke, and then that collected me, and Keegan got back by, and we tried to get under Keegan a couple times, and then I made one big mistake back there right before the white flag that put me way back, and then I made one last lap run, and we just ran out of time. But our truck is super fast, so can't thank all my guys from all of our team, Devin and Brad, my dad, and my family and my girlfriend, and everyone that comes out here, all you fans, all the ERX guys. They did a phenomenal job on this track. And Mutant Soda, Monster Energy, Toyota, they put killer race engines in these things, Maxxis tires, Method race wheels. Everyone that helps us out, we appreciate it, and hopefully we can wrap up this title tomorrow.
Hard-fought battle for CJ Greaves to get that second, huh?
Yeah, and CJ finishes in second, gives him more points, and it looks like it. He puts it on the line. Unless he has a mechanical failure, it takes him out of the equation. CJ Greaves looking to go win another Pro 4 championship, and a solid run out of him. But another good run for Scott Douglas as well. He was up there. He was fighting for the win. You could tell he was, tooth and nail. He was clawing that entire, every single lap of those 14 laps, and Scott Douglas holds on for third.
Yes, Robbie, I think you're right. He was really clawing at it. You told me with the kick of the weekend, you said this truck really is, you're feeling it, you're vibing with it, and you were working through different technical things with it. However, it wasn't working for you mid-race. What happened?
Well, it was awesome, and the crew did a great job even making more changes, and we're just throwing everything we can at it because these guys are fast, and this class is fast. But it was our race to win. The truck was working great, the suspension, the Fox shocks, and the Cooper tires, and the Amsoil truck was just awesome. It was on fire, and down there, I made a downshift into second, and I come out of that corner, and it blew second gear right up. And that's when everybody piled up behind me because I had no gear, and I'm trying to get it in a gear. And I got it into third, came down here, and tried second again, and there's nobody home. So Ross got by me, and then I says, I got to get a podium out of this. So I just kept working it in third and fourth, and the truck was just so fast. It felt so good, and it was so much fun. That track and the racing that was going on, how clean it all was, and it just, I haven't had that much fun in a long time. I just needed to be top on the box. I mean, today was our day, doggone it, and we had another gremlin reach up and bite us. But I can't thank AMSOIL enough, you know, Walker Evans Racing Wheels and Rusty's Off-Road for everything they do. So it's a great day.
You can tell the smile is pretty big there on Scott Douglas's face.
Yes, it is, Kate. And, you know, with these drivers, a lot of times, unless they make that podium, you don't see what they look like underneath the helmet. But that's not the case with this driver this features about. Andrew Carlson, who you'll see in the Pro 2 and Pro 4s. He's a local boy. Literally, this is his backyard.
So we're here at ERX Motor Park, right in my backyard, where I grew up. Something that I get to see every day. You know, you show up tomorrow and be 3,000 people in the stands, and so it should be cool. You know, since I was little, racing, my dad and my sister both raced snowcross with me. You know, and the family and everyone's involved with it.
You know, the segue from snowcross to off-road trucks has been interesting.
In snowcross too, you know, I'm more of a smooth driver, more patient. Definitely want the track to come to me and find the best line versus beating my head off the bar pad, and I think that aligns very well with off-road. And
you know, Andrew, I think, feels he's got a distinct advantage in reading lines, and he's aggressive in the jumps. He's not at all uncomfortable in the air.
And feedback is a really big part of snowcross racing. It's getting the machine dialed, and a lot of that aspects of racing are the same.
My wife and I love racing. We do it as a family. We have found a way to be with our 25 and 23-year-old kids every weekend. You know, we're racing. So if my kids want to hang with old dad and mom on the weekends, then I'm all about it.
It's a decision we make as a family, like, hey, do you guys want to, like, you know, let's go do this TORC deal. And
it's the off-the-track accomplishments that earn him the right to race, because he's a young adult, but he's still my son. And for both of my kids, we've raced, and you know, my wife and I are all about character and values, and so who they are off the track matters a whole lot more than who they are on the track. That piece should never be overlooked.
Love of racing and family, that's where it all begins. When I raced last year, I just had fun, and that's what I tried to focus on, and then I'm working out. Came away with the first win for the inaugural event at ERX, so looking to do well again, and obviously, but still have fun and just keep it on all four and tear it up out there. So.
Well, he was the first-time winner ever at ERX, and you can see him lining up, walking away, heading towards his truck as the pro lights will line up. He's a one-time winner this year. That was back at Redbud. Can he do it again? The pro lights coming up next here at ERX.
Trailblade Tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper. An American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
As you see the trucks lined up, the pro light division, the least horsepower, but that does not mean they can't race tight and have a lot of fun out there. The Pro Light. The next truck racing classification will be followed by the Pro 2-wheel drives in just a bit, as the Toyota Escondido Pace vehicle ready to set them down the road just a little bit. The points leader and probably the series champion, if he takes off of this starting line, Kyle Kleiman up there in front. Look for him. He was the winner the last time we were here at ERX, and the guy's been unstoppable for 2017, Ricky. I mean, you look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins out of 11 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle's been extremely strong, and what I like about the maturity of Kyle is that he doesn't seem to get rattled. He relaxes, he makes his moves, he's aggressive when he needs to be, and he's patient when he needs to be, and that's what's put him consistently up front. He knows where he starts. Seems like he gets his work done, and he's aware of the laps. There's guys in motocross and stuff that will go out, run too hard, and then be slow at the last couple laps, and there's guys that will go out and pace themselves and wait too long, and it seems like he has the stopwatch that totally it gets him lined up for the finish line, and that's why you've seen so many wins out of Kyle Kleiman.
I'd like to welcome everybody to ERX, taking a look at the track, and welcome inside our booth, Robbie Floyd with RJ.
Hey, everybody.
Ricky Johnson. Good race so far. Good race. I mean, it started, for those of you watching online at TORCseries.com, it started with our UTVs. The first one, the stock class, seemed like it took forever. Mods was an excellent race, and then we saw another good race in the Pro 4s.
Yeah, the Pro 4s, and CJ Greaves has won every race here except
just about, right.
that.
Well, it's two. He lost one.
But when I'm talking the Pro Truck division,
yesterday.
When he was here last year, he run Pro 2 and Pro 4, swept both classes both days, came here, won the race in the spring, won the one recently, and then today. So it says a lot for Keegan. And CJ, if you were watching the interview, he was trying. I mean, he was going after him,
sure.
and things happen, and Scott, lost the gear and stuff like that. But it's great to see Keegan really get to race, get to see what he has under the hood, and going the whole time. And it's also awesome to see Bass Pro Shops, who's on him for the first time. It is duck season. Keegan has said that before, that he's missing duck season, to bring it home for them. So thank you guys for coming on board. We believe in the TORC series, and we hope you do too.
And then you think he might be the leader, don't you?
He might. He's my vote so far, just because the way it was done, and not because he is a vision wheel guy, but for somebody to beat CJ, who swept every race.
He's never lost here in a truck.
In a truck, no. And so that was the first time for anyone to beat him, and they went back and forth, and he was able to pick the right moves, and I think he changed his driving style. So he's got my vote at this point, but we've only had one Pro Truck race, so we got a lot going on with Pro Lights and Pro 2, so we've seen a lot of dynamic things out of them as well.
Yeah, and I'm looking at, the last time we were here, and still, who's going to take this $250 from Vision Wheel? Mikey Vandenheuvel did it. We have yet to see Mikey Vandenheuvel today. We'll see him at the last race this afternoon. He still might have a chance to go back and forth, but still, two more big-time races lie ahead. Favorites going into this one. We've got Kyle Kleiman, Cody Kleiman. Two brothers finished on the box last time. Cam Reimers had a fan issue. Yep. And he was fast. Sean Morris, a winner here. Andrew Carlson, the first ever winner here. Chad Rayford, he was fast at the last round as well, and we saw probably the biggest crash ever at ERX with him. Matt Sorek and Zach Martin as well. Sorek's actually been off and on, but I think he's another guy that's really starting to come into his own and find things out. And Zach Martin, a UTV guy that's now competing in the Pro Light, and that's kind of the direction that they want to go.
But Chad Rayford's been so dynamic here. I mean, last year he had a huge endo over the jump after turn 1, which was, would have stopped a lot of guys from racing. They would have said, I think I don't know about this stuff.
Yeah.
But he just, no big deal. I got this, and was in the hunt all day yesterday as well. So let's watch him. I love how aggressive that he is. Andrew Carlson had a move in the other round going into turn 1 that was phenomenal, past so many different guys, and people never blocked it. I couldn't believe it.
And you've been a spotter many times, how were people not saying you've got to guard that inside?
Well, yeah, because he comes in, and I think part of it is because he is the local boy, and so him coming into turn 1, a lot of guys aren't comfortable because they're afraid of that wall. He knows where he's at. He's got the tree line in the back, and I think he's just comfortable, jumping and sticking his nose in there. But I couldn't believe it. Nobody he suckered a lot of guys and passed a lot of dudes there.
I couldn't believe in that feature he was talking about how he was calm and really waits for things to happen. He might be that in snowcross, but I'm telling you right now, he's aggressive. He's the guy pushing the envelope in the trucks. All right, Kate Osborne, what you got for us?
Well, I have a request for everyone to join us in asking Ricky, Robbie, myself if even, or some of these drivers questions. So all you have to do is, if you have a question about the track, you have a question about, I don't know, what Ricky ate for dinner last night, I'm not sure. If you have a question about the race series, whatever it might be, or even a driver, as I'm down there trackside, please send them into us via hashtag #AskTorque. That's going to be really important. And find us on social media. Connect with us. This is a place you want to be friends with, is getting all the inside scoop here at ERX. There's a lot of things happening. Not everything's shown on the show. We have behind-the-scenes pictures, videos, you know, some track walks and some pit walks that are on Facebook. So make sure you send us your questions and check us out on social media.
So Kate, if we have a question, I know that you always have one every morning. What is your preference when it comes to Starbucks coffee?
Oh, I just love coffee.
Tell us the truth.
Honestly, I'm pretty simple.
Americano.
I'm an Americano black.
There you go.
All right, thanks, Kate, and make sure and have that Americano ready for tomorrow. And as we have about a minute to go before we kick off our pro light race here, the Ponzi 42, the one to look for, but his brother, the 48 of Cody, climbing just behind. Cam Reimers able to save that engine after tripped a few breakers, and the engine got way, way, way hot, but evidently didn't do damage. He said it's about third fastest this morning in qualifying. He's ready to go out there. So we still got a lot of racing, 14 laps for the pro lights. TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. You see, we are at ERX Motor Park in Minnesota. It's the Kenda final rounds, and there goes the Kenda tire entry of Sean Morris. The pro lights are up next, Ricky.
Pro lights, they are 350 horsepower. 350 cubic inch, 450 horsepower, 14 inches of wheel travel, right around 3,000 pounds. That's the limit. Some are a little bit heavier with a light-duty DOT tire. So these tires that you see on there, some are intermediate, some are more of like a snow or mud tire, depending on the surface. But here at ERX, pretty much everyone's going for the mud tire.
Yeah, you need those bigger paddles. That's what Kyle Kleiman probably got on his machine. The Ponzi Maxxis entry next door is his brother sitting next to him. Kyle Kleiman looking to wrap up a championship in this race. Cam Reimers had some overheating issues at the last round here at ERX. He's got things sorted out. Sean Morris next to him. Andrew Carlson, the local boy. The first race ever held at ERX with the pro trucks. He was the winner in the pro lights. Chad Rayford next to him. Matt Sorek and Zach Martin round out our field. Who's going to win this one? A 14-lap race will take a competition caution to the halfway point after lap 7. So the 42 will set the pace. Rob, he is on the gas and has a full truck link over his brother. But look, diving to the inside, Cam Reimers, but Cody did an excellent job shutting him down.
Yeah, Cody held his line, didn't shut him down, didn't want contact, but there we see Cody with a clean line, but now Sean Morris shooting up the inside.
Watch out, Sean Morris in fourth, the blue truck, the Kenda tire entry, Chad Rayford in there just behind him. Driving around that outside is Andrew Carlson.
That was awesome. We saw all those guys going through. Not one body panel was exchanged. Great racing by these pro lights.
42 of Kyle Kleiman. He's been the cream of the crop. I mean, he is the best pro light driver as results are concerned this year. Looking on the inside, Sean Morris makes a move for third. Whoa, crossed up is Kleiman, but look at Morris on the inside. Look for that blue truck.
Morris shooting down the inside. He has come in deep on this a couple different times. We see Cam holding a very tight line inside. Oh, and Andrew Carlson over-rotates and backs it in.
And Andrew talking about how he, in snowcross, is, you know, he waits and lets it all play out in front of him. That time, over-rotating, getting a little loose in the rear end.
But, you know, this kid's jumping from Pro 2 to Pro Light, and they're such different vehicles. And so he probably qualified last in his Pro 2, so a little bit different, a little more sidewall on the tire. So unfortunate for Andrew Carlson, but we have not seen the last of him. He will be back because we have a competition yellow.
Yes, and there's the 42 just keeping the throttle down. Cody Kleiman is just behind him. So Actually, Kyle in that 42, you look at how many race wins he has this season. He only has 3 non-races or non-race wins in an 11-round season so far. 8th place, his worst finish. That was back in Park River. And if he stays where he's at right now, he will clinch the championship with another round still to go.
Well, you can see that he locks up the brakes a little bit there, and it did plateau the truck just a little bit.
Let's go to Ken Osborne.
Earlier today, I asked what it would mean to Kyle Kleiman if he took home the championship. Well, he said, you know what, it actually would mean a lot. He says the time, the money, the ups and downs. Again, you mentioned that 8th place finish. To him, he looks at this progress and he sees, wow, we've really, really grown a lot here as a team. And it does mean a lot, this championship, for sure.
8 race wins will do that to you, Ricky.
Well, and you got to look at what he did last year. He missed the first couple rounds due to financial stuff and didn't have a sponsor at the time, but then came on to the Pro Light division and was dominant at the end of the season. Didn't win every race, but was there and set a precedence for people to know and to understand that he was going to be back, and he continued that streak this year.
48 trying to close in. He doesn't. Oh, and you see the front wheels lock up. Very good motion right there. And in motorcycle racing, you see it a lot. Guys will get on that back brake and bring the front end down. It doesn't work quite as quick with these trucks. It's a lot more weight, and those wheels really can't make the drop down quite as fast. Kate Osborne?
You know, one of the things about Cody and Cam right now, they're running for that 2nd place. I asked Cam earlier today what the 2nd would mean. He goes, you know what, it's so hard to think about that. I was, up until this weekend, was looking for that championship, having a change of mindset to going for 2nd, where a lot of people would be excited about. He just wants to now win these races.
Cody Kleiman getting a little aggressive through those bumps, and it's one of those sections, Robbie, that it's not a matter of how well you time it. You just have to try to get as much speed going in, and he just mistimed it a little bit, and he lost a little ground, and Cam Reimers was able to make up a few different car lengths.
Yeah, you know, talk about younger brother, older brother. It's Kyle who's the younger brother who's out in front. Cody's 26 years of age. But it's Kyle that really has been the guy that just kind of lets it happen. He doesn't need to be in that first lap. He just knows I'll be there towards the end. But Cody's also been having some good races this year, especially the last half of the season. He has 1 race victory. That happened back at Park River, and he was happy to get that monkey off his back.
Yeah, and watching him, it's hard because I've been in a Honda camp or a Yamaha camp where you have somebody that's so dominant and you feel like you're second fiddle. And I don't feel that it's been that way, but fact has been that Kyle's been winning so much that Cody had to find his own way, and he did get that first win, and since then we've seen a lot of confidence out of Cody. But now we're back watching Cam Reimers, and Cam said it was just kind of a weird deal that he lost his fans. He didn't know where he was getting the spike, it blown the fuse, and so he didn't blow the motor, but they changed everything, and so he's back and he's racing. And so yes, he is trying to fight for every point that he can, but he would love to put a W in this category.
All right, Cam Reimers with that 8th place finish at the last round kind of broke that streak. He had back-to-back runner-up finishes. And Reimer back in 3rd. You see Chad Rayford in 4th. Rayford sits 6th in championship points. You know, Crandon was his undoing. He finished 14th there, and really that was his worst finish of the year.
Right. Well, and Chad's a gamer, you know. So when you watch Chad, I mean, I love that he's not afraid to hang it out. He's not afraid to land on the back wheels, front wheels. He's always a gamer.
As long as he doesn't stick that nose in, and that's what he did in that Kenda Tire entry last year here in Minnesota. Kate?
Chad Rayford right now in 6th in points. He said he does feel a little pressure to perform, as this is determining what happens next season. But to your point, Ricky, he enjoys this track. It's a driver's track, and he definitely feels he can hang it out here.
Chad Rayford in 4th place as we scan forward to Kyle Kleiman, who is just running a very, very smooth race. And watch as he comes through. He doesn't overdrive this, rolls off the gas a little bit so he doesn't overjump, because we've seen a lot of guys try to carry too much speed off of there and then land sideways. We've seen him DB tires or brake trailing arms and things like that. But Cody's actually staying within, not within striking distance, but he is going to be a factor as we go to the competition yellow.
And with the DOT tires, we have a couple of Maxxis entries out in front. Kyle, Cody Kleiman, and the Cooper tires of Cam Reimers in 3rd, followed by the Kenda tire entry of Chad Rayford, Sean Morris, 4 and 5. Stick with us. We're only halfway through this Pro Light race.
When when it comes to guarding your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance enthusiasts demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
There's the split section, and that wall keeps getting bigger and bigger because that roost keeps getting thrown to that outside. This is the Pro Light division. And Kyle and Cody Kleiman 1 and 2, Cam Reimers, Chad Rayford, Morris rounding out the top 5. Still 7 more laps to go here at ERX, and you'll notice Andrew Carlson going to start nose to tail. He's in 7th. That doesn't mean he's going to stay there for very long. Again, 1 more turn to go. The Toyota Vescanito truck will make that downhill and then the left, and they will get that restart.
What? As we watched, look at lap times, Cody Kleiman had a phenomenal last lap of 52.7, which was actually about a second and a half quicker than Kyle.
Seven down, 7 more to go here at TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. It's the Kenda final round. To the man in front, Kyle Kleiman, the 22-year-old, is trying to win himself a championship. His brother, Cody Kleiman, just behind him, is trying to win a race. And we'll see who can do this in 7 laps. Another guy to look for, the 151 of Andrew Carlson. This is his backyard. He had a big mistake early. He paid for it, but now he's starting nose to tail in 7th.
But he's got a lot of work to go through. And here we see, Kyle with a big push. Cody with a good line underneath with Cam Reimers right there. So Cody takes the other line, Cam follows Kyle.
And I'm looking at Carlson back there as well, and I want to point out, we'll see him in the Pro 2-wheel drive as side by side is Kyle Kleiman on the outside. You see him turn way early. He knew he had to get back down to the bottom half of that racetrack.
And as we said before, Cody Kleiman had the fastest lap when it came to the last lap before the competition yellow. So Cody is on a tear right now.
In the fastest lap of 52.47, and what happened there?
Kyle Kleiman comes in and just gets on the bicycle a little bit too much, and Cody pounces on him, and now we have Cam Reimers right in the same spot. Both of these guys fighting for that second position.
And yeah, Cody, again, you put yourself in those situations to make the pass, and there you're seeing Cam Reimers just flat out drive around the outside. And boy, what a drag race into this left hairpin.
Here we go. Can Cam hold the inside? He does, and then Kyle goes wide again, and now here comes Sean Morris.
Morris into the picture, a former winner here at ERX as well. Sean Morris won the 2nd round here at ERX. 3 wide, we're going to see that? No. But Morris takes over position. Can he hold on to it?
Cam Reimers on the outside, Sean Morris with a great job. Now Kyle Kleiman on the inside, Cam Reimers.
Look at this. I mean, out in front is Cody, not in the picture. Cam driving in extra hard. It's 3-way, and here comes Chad Rayford. Why not make it 4, Ricky?
4 wide. Here we go. This is what we want to see, and this is exactly what Cody Kleiman is looking for.
Oh, I knew it. You can't do it, Ricky. You cannot go that fast with that many drivers that tight without making contact.
A little bit fiberglass, Robbie. It's all good. No blood, no foul. Let's keep going racing. But right now we see Sean Morris ahead of Kyle Kleiman and Chad Rayford. But that is Cody Kleiman, who's passed his brother and now is pulling everybody.
Am I wrong? Is Kyle having a hard time turning in?
It looks like something has gone wrong. You notice he's fishing around and doing a lot of searching when normally we don't see that. So there could be something with his steering.
Steering or possibly even a brake issue.
Who knows? But you watch, you see the wheels turning a lot of left and right, searching around, trying to find what he's looking for. So something could have happened.
I want to point that out as well as you're looking at Sean Morris in the Kenda tire number 27 as Kyle squares it up, goes the inside. Morris out of Loveland, Colorado, the Marine on the Motive Gear AMSOIL, and we have a caution. Cam Reimers, I think we had damage because I thought he was on that very outside for a moment. And I think that might have cost him when he landed for whatever reason on the back of that truck.
What?
As we see Cam Reimers being pulled off the track, he's not going to be in this race, and unfortunately the last time we raced at ERX, he DNF'd, and that's going to be the case today as well. Let's take a look at what happened to Cam here. We're 3 wide with Rayford on the inside, Kyle climbing, and then Cam nearest to us.
Cam getting a big run as he comes over. We see Kyle come over just a little bit, and then he lands right on the back, and then something happened. It could have possibly ripped a brake line, as you were talking about, Robbie, or something internally, but then as he comes down and around the corner, everything looks okay, but then the next thing you know, it's off.
As the Toyota Escondido Pace vehicle leads these Pro Light trucks with only 4 laps to go, I'm telling you right now, Ricky Johnson, watch out for the Kenda 27. He's without a win this year, and Sean Morris is going to be fighting hard. And another thing to point out is Cody Kleiman, who's out in front in the 48 Ponzi machine, has been having brake issues this year, and it's happening later on in the race. But maybe with these cautions, maybe they're cooling down. Maybe they can survive.
But the good news is that Cody's got his brother Kyle all over the back of Sean Morris to keep him busy as well. So if it works to Cody's advantage, Kyle will work on Sean, keep him busy, and let him run away. But we haven't seen that with Kyle. Kyle typically wants to get in there and win himself.
Yeah, Kyle's having a hard time turning in that corner, it seems a lot. Now Sean takes the inside. Kyle's going to have a ton of momentum on the outside.
So Sean looks like he has a little bit better run. Kyle loses a little bit. Oh, Chad Rayford over hard.
What is it with Chad Rayford at ERX? A little bit of fire underneath the truck. And just like last year, he is down.
All right, so Chad Rayford, a hard hit. We see the TORC safety vehicle up there. Both of them getting up to check everything, because you can see there's possibly a little bit of fuel on the brakes. They cover the brakes, so we're going to take another look at that as they come out of the split lane. So, Robbie, you can see here he comes into the picture. We can't see what happens at the beginning, but there's Chad Rayford. He's already on his second flip. He goes end over end, and then all of a sudden here it hooks, and then up and over. So it wasn't that hard of a hit. It was just more of a spinning, but it was in a very, very high speed area.
So Rayford smoking, and I mean, he's out of it. That's a hard hit, and literally that might be, he might have the record for the 2 biggest crashes at ERX. One was a series of perpetual endo that he stuck the front end. That one just corkscrewing, just rolling end over end. And we got another fire underneath, and they can't even see it.
No, it's just
he's firing it back up.
He's burning up the gas that's in the exhaust. It looks a lot worse than it is because it shoved the hood down, and those body hangers in the back are strictly cosmetic. You can see the sway bar right behind the shocks. It's straight. The chassis looks straight. It's just a lot of cosmetic damage. So there is a good chance that Chad Rayford can get going again. So now we see Chad Rayford coming in. He's already basically gotten sideways, crashed. He's on his second roll. It swaps to the left, swaps to the right, and then he's up on his roof. And then this little push right here is what collapses everything when it comes to the fiberglass. And then this bends the body hangers. You can see the ones on the right side of the truck, which is on the upper side. They're already toast, and the body parts are flopping. But the chassis is fine. He gets the vehicle shut off. He's in a very dangerous spot, but it looks like he might be able to regain racing. So there we see Chad Rayford has got everything together. The wheels are straight. He's going to stay on the lead lap, but he will come back to the back of the field, and he still has a chance to keep racing. So a lot of things are going on in this race. This race is not over yet. We have a few laps to go. We're 10 of 14 with 4 to go.
Unbelievably, Chad Rayford will re-enter this race, and we'll see how much that truck is damaged. But boy, Cody Kleiman out in front again, and I still say Sean Morris in the 27 entry out of Colorado is a guy to look for. He's playing bumper trucks right now, and he loses a little bit of ground to Cody. Kyle Kleiman, the winningest driver in 2017, is just behind him, and he's looking for that points championship to be wrapped up here in just a bit.
And very impressed with Sorek. He's right in the mix, running very strong, and he's actually pulling Andrew Carlson just a little bit. So now we see Sean on the inside. We see Kyle do an over-under, but then he gets hung up on the berm just a little bit. Everybody takes the left lane.
Driving through that inside, one after the other. I think it's Sorek, the only guy taking that outside line. Kyle Kleiman trying to set up, going to give him a little more drive on a bicycle. He has to push wide. That's going to put Kleiman even farther wide. It's a drag race down that straightaway, but there's a jump in between.
Great racing between these two. Sean Morris going to look hard up the inside. A little bit.
There he goes. Get on the throttle again, Sean, and he pulls out of it.
Number 28. Number 28 for that truck. Sean Morris has taken that number 27 truck over 28 times now, and now back on his wheel. So and Leprechaun keeps the extension going.
That's a stat you just don't want to know, but you do. And a couple of guys paid for it. And Chad Rayford, I believe Zach Martin are two of those guys. On the rollover, he just got on two wheels. He charged hard, and he finally got that side bind he wasn't looking for.
Sean Morris coming down hard on the inside as he brakes. He's got a little bit too much rear, and watch, the back end steps out. He brakes hard, it steps out more, and then hooks, and then over he goes. What's great is that he has conscious of mind to turn into it, gas it, and go. Unfortunately, Andrew Carlson's right there. He runs into his door, hits Sorek, and next thing you know, here comes Chad Rayford. Both of those trucks out of that camp have gone over.
And mind you, he does not know that Andrew Carlson is there because he can't see through this floor pan.
And you know who's loving this right now? Is Cody Kleiman.
Cody, yeah, absolutely. That was the one guy who said it had a shot, was Morris. I really felt like he had something for him, but he pushed a little too hard. But, hey, Kyle's still trying to beat Big Brother here as well. Kate Osborne?
You know, in mentioning Kyle being the brother, he actually was talking about Cody's strengths earlier to me. He said his strength, well, it's his dedication to the sport. He can get a little emotional, which is good and bad, but it's amazing to see him change in confidence as a driver.
And you see how proud the Kleiman crew is when they can finish 1 and 2, and it's happened more times with Kyle on top. And you see it looks like a yellow flag, a full course caution. And this is nuts. Not only will it bunch up Cody and Kyle, but Andrew Carlson now is going to be on the tail end of this field as problems with Matt Sorek. So Sorek, I didn't even know you could open those doors, Ricky.
You're not supposed to be able to open the door. I think it's just muscle memory. I got to get in the truck. I'm going to open my door and then step in.
That's funny, and I know.
And now look, your nostril's not supposed to be able to open the hood either. So
yeah,
This is the next generation TORC series truck.
That's funny, and I know funny. All right, what are the odds? Give me the odds. Dang it, I cannot believe. I mentioned that Carlson's in third. Look who's in fourth, nose to tail.
Oh, and those
with
guys,
no damage, probably.
And they had a little bad blood from yesterday going on, so let's see what happens. But I'm sick to my stomach for Cody Kleiman. The guy's done everything right, and they keep throwing yellow.
He should have won this race already about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, man. So who does he got? The winningest driver of all season, and your brother right behind him.
8 wins.
That's either going to be a blessing or a curse.
All right, let's look it out. Cody's out in front, should have already won. They keep having these cautions. Second is an 8-time winner. Third is the most aggressive driver, that, albeit he hasn't been as strong in the Pro Light. He's been a little stronger in the Pro 2. Then you've got a guy who's angry at the guy in front of him in fourth. It just keeps going. Zach Martin's again around that 5th place position going, tear it up, fellas. Tear it up. I'm learning about this Pro Light competition.
So we go green, white, checker. So if I'm going to look into my crystal ball, I'm going to say that Cody is able to pull a little bit of a lead. I'm going to say Andrew and Sean are both going to be aggressive with Kyle, and so that's going to give Cody the opportunity to make a little ground.
Is that Cam Reimers back out on the track?
No, that is not Cam Reimers. That is Rayford. So Rayford has flipped, still running. Sean has flipped and still running. So that just goes to show you how tough these vehicles and drivers are.
I saw the black truck there at the second. I was like, don't tell me he pulled back out there, but
no, that's Zach Martin.
Yeah, Martin back there watching it all go down. So they go through those little rollers again. Toyota Escondido pace truck getting. He's going to be pacing the field quite a bit today, it seems, as we still have one more race, the Pro 2-wheel drives, coming up in just a moment. So with that yellow, the field is bunched up once again, Ricky. And look, Cody and Kyle Kleiman, but Andrew Carlson's now in third, and Sean Morris is in fourth with 2 laps to go. And Morris and Carlson might have a little bad blood from the last round.
Will Carlson used that line that he used so well yesterday, shooting to the inside, but you can see actually Kyle shoots to the inside, but gives a little bit of room for his brother Cody.
When it's Bro, you're not going to bring him around, and again on 2 wheels for just a moment is Sean Morris. Chad Rayford is fighting in there. He had a fast truck, but he's had a rollover himself today. Carlson moves into third, takes that position, driving that inside line. We'll see if anybody splits. No, Kyle to the inside, Cody to the outside. Kyle's faster here. The 42 of Kyle Kleiman takes the lead. The 8-time winner this year is about to take the white flag with 1 more to go.
Kyle Kleiman, what he's done so well all year long, and Cody has been the faster driver. Can he make something happen?
Kyle set up a little bit better on exit out of that turn, and we'll see him pull away just a bit. Cody is not backing down. He's the older brother, the young bro. He's tired of him handing it to him, and he's going to fight till the very end. We'll see if they take different options in that split section. You pretty much have to.
Well, if you're Cody Kleiman, you're hoping that your brother comes in or drives it a little bit hard and bicycles here. But if you notice, he's very smooth. He does go a little wide. And now we see Andrew Carlson shooting up the inside, taking the inside away from Sean Morris.
And that was a last-ditch pass for Andrew Carlson there, and he had position. Watch it. Here is one straightaway with some rollers into it as they meet. Cody's too far behind. He doesn't have 8 wins as he takes the Yamaha checker flag for the 9th time. He takes the win in Pro Lights. Kyle Kleiman with the victory. Cody Kleiman's going to finish second. Another Ponzi entry. Sean Morris jumps into third on that final turn with Andrew Carlson in fourth.
Designed for your journey.
Turo Trailblade Tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by VP Racing Fuels, the official fuel of TORC, and by Turo, the tire with the style you want and the performance you need.
Making that move with a little over 1 lap to go. Kyle Kleiman in the Pro Lights is the victor here at ERX Motor Park. That makes it 9 wins on the season, and now he is the 2017 TORC champion in Pro Lights.
Kyle, first, congratulations, first Pro Light champion. First Pro Light championship ever, and I gotta say, you said earlier to me that this would mean a lot. How would you describe your season as you reflect back on it?
Yeah, you know, we had our ups and downs, and you know, we worked through them as a team we built, and we kept pushing forward. We didn't let up, and you know, that's what champions are about. It's being relentless no matter what you're put through, and man, I can't thank everybody enough for everything. My crew, my family, man, like Ponzi, Maxxis, Ultra Wheels, Fox Shocks, Dynamic Torque Converters, everybody else, J&H, Pro Power. Man, so much time was put into this season, and you know, I had to work for that last race. I kind of threw it away, and then I had to make a long comeback. So, man, I'm glad that one's over. So, thank you guys, everybody. This is awesome.
Clinching the Pro Light Championship, Kyle Kleiman.
And looking at the unofficial results, if you see the other Ponzi truck just behind, he was only 1 point behind Cam Reimers coming into this round for second in championship points. So Cody's going to have a smile on his face. Sean Morris third, Carlson Rayford, and what a race in Pro Light. But with that second place finish, Cody Kleiman now moves into second. A couple of Ponzi boys up there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you can see Cody's happy about this for a couple of different reasons, I think. But Cody, another podium finish for you. That last couple of laps, is there anything you could have done differently?
No, Kyle's picked his lines very well. Could have been a few yellow flags, but that's all right. His race was chosen. Put it on the box again. It's been a hell of a year for us and Kleiman's and the team, and Ponzi, Maxxis, Billy from Pro Power, J&H, Dynamic Torque Converters, everybody, Ultra Race Wheels. I can't thank my friends and family enough for what we've done this year. I think we really proved a point that we both can do it, so I can't thank everybody enough. Thank you.
Big celebrations happening in the Kleiman household, I have a feeling, tonight, guys.
Yep, and after the next and final round of the TORC season, as you look at the championship point standings with that DNF, Cam Reimers dropped back to third. And really, Sean Morris closes in. He still might get that podium finish for the championship hunt, but when you have two Kleimans on top, as a father, that's all you can do is have my boys in a position to win a championship, and he's done just that. But Sean Morris, what a roll, the 28th rollover now in his career, Kate.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster. It's an amusement park ride for you, Sean, but hey, you had a particular mindset coming into today. What was it?
Yeah, it didn't matter, you know, hats are off, you know, we're going for it. There's no way I could catch, you know, Cody for the championship. All I did was want to win, and I went for it on that corner, and you know, got on the bike and rolled it. Yeah, there's another one, but whatever, you know. So hey, I don't know, can you count it if you land back on all wheels? I don't know. I mean, I give up anymore, so yeah, the count. But you know, I'm super happy. You know, obviously if the tires hook up in the corner, you know, the tires got to be hooking up in the corner if I'm doing that stuff. So you know, still the best tire out there. So come and get them, boys.
Sean Morris, another podium here at ERX.
Yeah, and he's smiling now, but yeah, he wanted that win in a bad way, and I really thought he had a chance at it here at ERX. It's not just about the trucks. We also have some UTVs. Let's kick it off with the Pro Stock UTVs earlier. You know CJ Greaves, you remember that kid and Pro 4 champion, Pro 2 champion? He's won them all. Well, he literally has won every Pro Stock race in 2017, and this race was no different.
Jake Lunderby in the yellow Yamaha, CJ Greaves in that white with the monster claw on the side, and Zach Martin. It was these three guys that raced really hard the whole time. We had Dylan Poynton, who was up there and really strong, but it was CJ Greaves.
Yeah, and in the Pro Mod, this was a race where Johnny Greaves entered racing for getting championship points for his buddy Rodney Van Eperen. He needed to win, and he also needed Kyle Cheney to finish back in the pack. CJ Greaves also in the Pro Mods gets in between the two, and he didn't really hold off Cheney, but he does keep him behind by finishing second.
Everybody was racing really hard. Johnny Greaves went with the sequential shift instead of the paddle shift, and really helped him because that muscle memory was right there. Here we see Cheney making a run at it, but not quite getting it done.
So Kyle Cheney would eventually finish third. Johnny Greaves would take the win. CJ in between. That is a 4-point advantage for Rodney Van Eperen in the championship. There they are, the final race of the day. It is the Pro 2-wheel drives. And if this race is anything like the last round, expect big things here at ERX.
For 41 years, winning drivers in all forms of motorsports have relied on VP Racing Fuels for leading-edge technology to optimize performance and power them to the winner's circle. Now you can get the same benefit with VP Mattitives, formulated for gas and diesel engines. It's race fuel technology for your daily driver, and the perfect way to clean out your fuel system and put the power back in your drive. VP Mattitives are available at your local AutoZone store. For more information, visit vpracingfuels.com.
Here we are at ERX Motor Park, TORC the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. It's the Kenda final rounds. As we prepare for our final race of the day, you see the Kenda truck entry of Sean Morris making his way to the victory podium, finishing third. And we know he's a bad mofo. He finished on the podium there. Kyle Kleiman, Cody Kleiman, yeah, he rolled around and made a lot of contact. So there's several entrants, guys we've seen in the Pro Lights, the Pro 4-wheel drives. They're eligible for this Vision Wheel Bad Mofo Award and taking home that $250 cash. So your opinion, Ricky, who do you think has it so far with 2 of our 3 races complete?
I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna stick with my first shot with Keegan Kincaid, breaking the streak of CJ Greaves here in the Pro 4 division. Sean's pretty close, but you know, he says, you know, he doesn't know if those count if you land on your wheels.
Yeah, the rollover count.
If your roof sees the ground, I don't care if it touches it or clears it, it's called a rollover. If you can get your dog to roll over and go from feet to feet, it's still a rollover, right?
I agree. I agree.
So that's 28 for you, Sean.
He's deflecting. He's deflecting. But he might be. You know, we've seen it before. It didn't have to be the winner, but he might be the Vision Wheel Bad Mofo Award winner. And we're going to have that immediately following this final race, too. So you don't have to stick around for a while. We'll do that immediately following our driver interviews and find out who's going to get that extra cash money, playa.
But also Kyle Kleiman. Kyle, nine races this year. He's only lost 1 race.
Out of 12 races, yeah, that's unbelievable. 3 losses. His worst finish, that one, eighth place, I think. I mean, that's pretty salty, my friend.
And also having the pressure. I want to be up front, then making a mistake. As he said, he fessed up. I made a mistake. And then he comes back, and then he forces his brother out. So there's either going to be some partying and hugging or some wrestling and punching going on at the Kleiman household.
They're happy.
Yeah,
they're happy because
Cody's not as happy as he could be.
Never. It's like you yourself and Jeff Stanton or anybody that you were teammates with.
But that wasn't my brother, though.
No, they're on the team, but you know somebody's got to win. And as happy as you were for like that undefeated season going in '89, when Jeff's back there, he's still got to be going, what do I have to do?
Exactly.
And that should have been Cody. He's what?
And it motivated Jeff Stanton to become a multi-time champion.
Yeah, and Kate asked that question, what could you have done? And he said the same thing you said. We could have done without those yellow flags.
Exactly. And so hey, that's racing. You know what they say, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, it'd be Christmas every day of our life.
Oh
so
my
that is
gosh.
exactly what I'm going.
Where do you come up with this stuff? I'm from Texas. That sounds like a Texas thing, not a California thing.
Well, say it with a twang, it sounds more Texas.
All right, I'll do it. We're about to take a break here at ERX Motor Park. Glad you could join us here at the Kenda Final Rounds. We'll come back with more. We've still got the Pro 2-wheel drives here in just a bit.
Designed for your journey.
Turo Trailblade Tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
Pro Light podium. As you see Sean Morris on your right, Kyle Kleiman in the middle, Cody Kleiman on the left. The penultimate round, the next to last stop as Leprechaun back up on the podium again, and also with a chance of finishing on the podium for the season championship. That'll be determined tomorrow at the next round, the final stop of TORC, the Off-Road Championship. That's why we call it the Kenda Final Rounds. Hello, ladies. Is that the Targaryen girl from Game of Thrones?
Got me. I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Is that Khaleesi? For those Game of Thrones fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Game of Thrones, it doesn't go together. Game of Thrones,
the mother of
fans
dragons,
and racers.
The mother of dragons.
You watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You've only got one more year to catch, or to watch it, Ricky, to be on time.
Oh,
all right, who are they going after?
Chasing down mom, girlfriend,
you name it.
Everybody.
Wives. Yep. Chad Rayford's going over there. Son of a gun. A couple young guns up there on the podium, minus Sean Morris. And speaking of our young guns, let's take a look at what you can follow. Episode 1 already aired on September 20th, but we still have several more. It'll be on 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on youtube.com/TORC. The young guns of TORC.
A new generation is rising, an inevitable force primed to lay claim to what is theirs. This is Young Guns.
So this is the Young Guns. And if you didn't watch that first episode on September 20th, I believe that's last Wednesday, you can still go on YouTube and find previous episodes in case you missed them at youtube.com/TORC. It's the final race of 2017 here for round number 12 of 13 of TORC the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. It's the Kenda Finals and the penultimate round. That next to last stop is so important, Ricky Johnson, especially when your son Luke is out in front and had a terrible last round. But let's take a look at these trucks and what it takes to race in Pro two-wheel drive.
They made a slight change from last year where they were running 430 cubic inch. Now this year it's a 410 steel block cubic inch motor, 700 to 710. The suspension's the same, 20 inches of wheel travel, 4,000 pound minimum with a DOT tire. So this is the same tire you drive on your truck.
And I talk about the terrible round. He had a mechanical problem and an underdrive issue. Took him out of the race. Brad Lovell, who sits second in championship points, as you see, will line up next to Luke Johnson, gain those points, but still Lovell 27 behind. But Luke really didn't want that to happen. But right out in front, let's find out Mitch Dorr, how can he do on the start? Because Eric Ruppel's been very fast, who's just on the outside of him.
Eric Ruppel really quick yesterday, so let's see how it goes down in this first turn.
Johnson Lovell side by side. Andrew Carlson, who you saw in the pro lights, he'll be starting on row 3 next to Mikey Vandenheuvel, who won the last round of TORC here in the RX.
Andrews Carlson right up on Luke Johnson's bumper as these guys go down in there. Eric Ruppel gets the whole shot. Now Brad Lovell up on the inside. Luke Johnson way outside.
Lovell going for the twofer, throws it in there. He over-rotates. Johnson's actually going to come out the best. Johnson may actually be side by side for second. Brad fights with Mitch Dorr. Ruppel slams into that berm. Look at this race. They're second in points. Brad Lovell with Luke Johnson just behind him, and boy, those bumps are getting big.
And here comes Mikey Vandenheuvel, our top qualifier, had to start 6th place. A lot of times what people don't understand is you qualify for a position, then you have to pull a P. He drew a 6, and that's what put him so far back. Luke Johnson looking down the inside of Brad Lovell.
A great run right there. When the guy in front of you is going low, he'll bound to push. You square up the outside, go to the end, but Eric Ruppel, the winner at the first stop of TORC the Off-Road Championship back in Chicago. Oh, and actually swinging up a little bit, and that caused Lovell just a little bit.
Luke Johnson looking up the inside, Lovell, and Ruppel running around the outside. Luke Johnson rotating to the inside, and now also we see Mitch Dorr has got his hands full with Mikey Vandenheuvel.
Okay, for the first time, I think that's the preferred line for Brad Lovell. He wants to be on that inside, and there's why he takes over the lead in that one section. Can Ruppel drive around him? Not this time.
It is not happening. So great move by Brad Lovell to put himself in first position, because that's what he has to do.
Flying higher.
Sky.
Yeah, flying high here in ERX. You see Gatlin Keener come across as well. You know, Luke likes putting a left front tire on that berm and take that inside line. One thing when Luke Johnson broke the underdrive in the last round as he dives underneath here right in this section, he actually broke a rocker arm this morning. So he's been having issues both days in ERX.
Well, right now what he has to do is he's got to get past Ruppel, and he's got to try to get up to the front and race there with Brad. So let's see if he takes the left lane. This is where Brad passed Ruppel last time. Can Luke Johnson do the same? He's a little bit further behind.
See if he can go off of it, but I think you have to do whatever's different than that guy in front of you, especially on that inside. And look, door to door, now it's Johnson taking over second. Ricky with the competition caution to the halfway, that one position starting behind Lovell, if he can hold it, is so important.
It's huge, but do not count out Ruppel. He's been very fast as he shoots down the inside. He found something between the last 2 rounds. Ruppel very fast. I love what he said. You know, talking about these young guns, what about us older guys? And so, hey, I'm right there with you, Eric. Keep fighting, buddy.
In that left-hand turn after the finish line, that was the first time I'd seen Luke actually open it up just a bit, and he found something there as well. You notice the 151 who's in 5th place. That's the ERX Motorsports own Andrew Carlson. And boy, what a move by Mikey Vandenheuvel trying to move up. He's not up as quick as I thought he would, though. He doesn't look quite as fast as the last round.
Well, the track is a little bit different. It's a little more abrasive when you're that far back. If you make some moves early, you can make it happen.
Kate Osborne.
The number 2, Luke Johnson, right now, knowing that the championship is in reach. I asked him what he means. He goes, he doesn't know if he'd be able to capture the emotions until days after the championship. He did say, you know, this would mean so much to him, as he didn't even know he would get through 2 races at the beginning of the season, and to be in the championship contention here at the end of the season is unbelievable.
For 3 of our top 5 drivers, that last lap was their quickest lap of the race. Who's the fastest? That would be Andrew Carlson back in 3rd, a 51.4, but literally less than a 10th quicker than Brad Lovell, Mike Van Den Heuvel, and Luke Johnson right behind in time.
So now both drivers take that left lane, and I think they feel it's a little bit more preferred because you don't jump as high, you don't land as hard coming in to this rocker section going into Talladega. We see Brad bumping left and right, but Brad was very fast also with a 51.4. Let's see what happens.
Kate Osborne.
In the first round here, and the makeup round, Brad Lovell did not hit the setup. They said they went way overboard. He said right now, they said they actually had conference calls to set this thing up. He says it feels so much more better, and he's so much more confident in what he has now.
Well, that lap, it switched from Luke Johnson with a 51.4 and Brad with a 52.2. So we're seeing these guys go back and forth. And when you have two drivers and also Andrew Carlson in the mix as well, driving that close to the edge, every little bit counts.
And I think really Luke Johnson, typically he'd be all right with being in second place with that caution. But with Andrew Carlson closed in behind, he would love to have Brad Lovell behind him instead of Andrew Carlson.
Well, if you look at the points right now, Luke Johnson has a 27-point lead. If he can pass Brad Lovell and win this race, he will wrap up the championship. So he's fighting for the championship as well as just a race. But these guys are racing for bonuses every weekend. They want to try to make sure that they win as much as possible. Every lap counts.
Remember how tight he was taking that turn? Who's in his ear? Zach's told him something, said get off of that inside turn. Open it up just a bit.
Well, you know, the guys have made a big change. Like I said, Billy Sleeper from Pro Power had to fix the rocker arm. Charlie from ATD had to work on helping them change the transmission. So right now it's great to see these two guys racing clean, and now they have lappers that they're dealing with as well.
Don't take the same line, Luke. What are you doing? And not as a dad, you're seeing that, but you can't follow a guy that looks like he's broke down. I don't care how much you need to separate the line.
Well, and that's something that you can't blame the spotter, because the spotters can't see that portion of the track, and he actually didn't lose that much, but we are in the competition yellow. So this is going to give Andrew Carlson a chance to catch back up and see if he's able to pull off that move again.
And the fastest driver in the first half of this race is Andrew Carlson. He'll start third when we re-rack and restack here for the final half of the Pro 2-wheel drive race.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Rugged radios. Work, race, play.
Hey Steve, where you at?
Experience clear communications through headsets or helmet kits.
I'm up on the hill to your right. Oh, there you are.
Talk vehicle to vehicle.
Keep radio contact going. Copy?
Talk to passengers.
Copy that, I gotcha.
And stream your favorite music. Complete communications for UTVs, base camp, toy haulers, or off-road vehicles. Rugged Radios, the authority in communications.
As you see the drivers heading into that split section, the right side, as we look at it on camera, seems to be the faster line. But when you have somebody that's just in front of you, take that. You almost have to go the opposite if you're going to make a pass in that section. But you just don't want to give up position, because that's going to set you up on the outside.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Kevin Hanegraaff, unfortunately, the Allies of Autism truck having to be pulled off.
Yeah, it's tough. And my dad used to drill in my ear, you can't pass somebody if you follow him, son. You got to get off to the left or to the right. But Luke Johnson, very lucky that he didn't get held up that much by that lapper. So we're going to see, you know, we're going to see some great racing. We got 4 really fast trucks, and we got 7 laps to go. But I know that Luke has a lot of support. I want to throw a shout out to his cousins, Kate, Jillian, Skylar, and Piper. I know they're watching online. Same with Paul and Doodles and everybody. So thank you guys for supporting your grandson and cousin and nephew.
Somebody's smoking back there in the back. Truck overheating possibly just a little bit as they go through those kickers. A little bit different than they were at the last rounds. The Toyota Escondido Pace truck will lead the field. And when we come back for our television break, I want to explain some of the things that I see on our graphics, and I'll probably have to do it in a hurry. So many storylines here at TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. We're at ERX Motor Park for the Kenda final rounds. Brad Lovell, second in points, is trying to hold off the series points leader in Pro 2, Luke Johnson. Just behind him, Andrew Carlson, who lives here at the track. Mikey Vandenheuvel, who in 2 races in ERX has won both of them, and he is back in fourth. Eric Ruppel just behind. Boy, good jump by Brad Lovell.
Luke Johnson protecting the inside line this time. Andrew Carlson and Mikey Vandenheuvel in tow. We have a race on our hands.
The fastest lap of the race has been the driver in third, that black truck. He goes the inside of Luke Johnson. The fastest last lap of the race was the driver in fourth, Mike Vandenheuvel. Oh, and Vandenheuvel gets into Carlson just a little bit, but now 1 and 2 on that outside, and I don't think that's the fast line.
Here comes Andrew Carlson, was able to take that left lane, make a little bit of room on Luke Johnson, but now it is Brad Lovell who pulls out about a 2 truck length lead.
You see Johnson getting pushed wide. Carlson closes up right at our camera. Whoa, that's 200 feet past the apex of that jump.
Straight down the inside, gets a little bit of door action, tire action. Now that puts Luke Johnson back to 4th position. So Andrew Carlson very aggressive, and now Luke Johnson on the inside of Mikey Vandenheuvel.
And Luke just spitting a ton of dirt going into that cab there. I mean, that is just like pelting you with hundreds of pounds of dirt. Vandenheuvel in the 77 Kenda tire entry, trying to work his way up into a podium. Lovell looks strong, but he's got clean air. He's been out in front, but it's not going to be for long rotation.
Mikey Vandenheuvel looking to the inside, running really clean with Luke Johnson, but Andrew Carlson with a slight over-rotation. So now we have 4 cars looking at the lead. You see the roost is unbelievable as Mikey Vandenheuvel swaps going into the rhythm.
And not only swapping was him, and look, it was Carlson as well, and Johnson makes a pass to the inside. Johnson going to the inside, trying to take over second. It's a drag race, and I was seeing the attitude of Carlson. That truck was swapping around side to side in that rhythm section.
Now you see Andrew looking underneath. He does it over and under. Both him and Luke running very strong to each other. Andrew opening it up, but this puts Andrew slightly ahead, but Luke on the inside.
I'll tell you right now, Carlson's not in it for the championship. Luke Johnson is. Sometimes you'll let a guy go and say, I'll try and get you later, because it's a guy that's 2 trucks in front of him that he really needs to beat.
But let's talk about the guy who's benefiting from this, and that's Brad Lovell. As Andrew looks up to the inside, a little slide over rotation, and Andrew gets into him, but very clean racing, but good hard racing going on for these front 3.
Watch out for this drag race. I think that inside's a little quicker, and you're going to see Carlson side by side with Lovell. We'll see also Johnson back in third if he can take advantage. These guys have to touch. There they do it. Carlson makes contact, drives to the inside.
Johnson, and he gets a flat.
Johnson's got a heck of a run. He's going to go from third to first.
Andrew Carlson with that contact creates a flat, and now it's going to put Luke Johnson on the inside. When now comes, here comes Mikey Vandenheuvel.
4 drivers. Johnson's really trying to check. Carlson's right rear is gone. Vandenheuvel in second, and Brad Lovell a lap ago was in front. He's now back in third. What a race in Pro 2-wheel drive.
Mikey Vandenheuvel has been perfect every time on this track, so he is going to want to keep that streak alive.
The fastest last lap was Mike Vandenheuvel, a 51.8. Carlson was a 52.0, so 0.2 of a second. That is huge. And a big wide turn by Johnson. I cannot believe all 3 drivers at that outside.
All went to the outside with a lot of roost going on, but Luke Johnson was just a very narrow margin over Mikey Vandenheuvel.
Carlson in the pit, not even in the picture after that contact. And I cannot believe Brad Lovell came in that hard, and that is a big mistake if you're trying to win this championship.
Exactly. This championship is going to come down to this round, so we got to keep these guys on the track. Luke Johnson, that helped him out quite a bit.
That's everything.
Mikey Vandenheuvel, we have not seen him in the picture. Some contact there. Taking another look. Here is Carlson in there with a flat tire, and what happens is he beated it and shredded it, so it came completely off. So they couldn't just change it. They got to take it completely apart, so bad luck for Andrew Carlson.
He's going to be out of the picture, and you see Luke Johnson. That's everything he wanted. That big mistake. Remember how I talked about Carlson as we have a full course caution? That's going to cost him. It looks like the 31 of Mueller is going to bring out the full course caution. That's everything that Luke Johnson did not want to see.
And everything that Brad Lovell wanted to see. And then also that's going to give Carlson a chance to get back out in the mix again. So this race is not over.
All right, looking at points and time, where it's at, I think I see Carlson with 10 laps completed. Johnson with 11 laps completed, or everybody else with 11 laps completed. I'm not quite sure if Carlson's down a lap or not.
I think that they did go by because that tire was stuck in there, so we do see that he is down 1 lap because Andrew Carlson was still in the pit as we were rolling around, so that won't put him in the mix, but we'll see. Did they halt the scoring before that lap went down? So we don't know, but the officials know.
Yeah, we'll have to find out that official word because everything we say is officially unofficial.
You know, I want to throw a shout out for Luke Johnson representing all the Ford Rough Riders. You got Scott Taylor, Jeff Dorr, the Simon & Simon brothers, Rob McCachran, Scott Taylor, all of those guys, Manny Esquera. It was awesome. They had such a powerhouse in the 80s and the 90s, and it's great to see that Luke Johnson is showing respect to those guys. It's a pretty cool thing. Frank D'Angelo was a big part of that, big part of that program, so it's pretty cool to see the new generation remembering the old.
Ricky, we still got a little bit of time here. I was wanting to say, remember how I said it was very smart racing for the championship for Johnson not to put it in there on Carlson when they were side by side because you had to look at the big picture. A little bit later, it was Lovell who was trying to put it in on Van den Heuvel, who didn't really have to do it right then, and that really could have caused him minus this full course caution.
Well, yes, but when you're racing against guys like Mikey Van den Heuvel, and he knows that he has to beat Luke Johnson to make himself eligible to win that championship. So I don't blame him, no. Brad Lovell at all. You got to take every shot that you have, and with an aggressive Mikey Van den Heuvel, anything can happen.
I agree with you, but and just like the contact yesterday with Carlson and Luke, I was like, even talking to Luke, I'm like, you still have to look at big picture, though. You know?
Absolutely. But when you're in the middle of a fist fight, you didn't see the guy coming from across the room with a baseball bat. You just got to take every advantage you have, and that's what I love about this.
So Scott Mueller will be towed off, and we will restack with 3 laps to go. Johnson, Van den Heuvel, and Rubel. The 14 leads this field. Eric Rubel back in third going, man, I'm going to put this Maxxis truck right into the lead. Number 37, Brad Lovell back in fourth. Even with that big mistake, still has a chance of winning this race. Good start by Luke Johnson. That jet hot 14 just throttled out there. Langley Ford, Kent the tire truck in second. Maxxis third. Brad Lovell at Amsoil 44 back in fourth. Johnson with a really good start.
A really good run, and he opens it up. Mikey Van den Heuvel looking to the inside, but he gets a good run. And Eric Rubel getting in a little bit with Brad Lovell, but Luke Johnson with a good shot through the switch lanes.
And Johnson getting a little sideways too coming out of that. And I know you've had words with him on driving style out here. Sometimes you can overdrive this track, but right now both of these guys, 1, 2, and 3, are giving it everything they've got. Van den Heuvel looks tough right here though.
Van den Heuvel's got a big run. He's going to look for something down on the inside of this corner. So Luke Johnson set him on the outside. Mikey looking to the inside. Luke pushing a little bit, but gets a good run coming on.
Also, is that a setup maybe for the next time around? There's 2 laps to go. If you don't do it this one, you can at least see what the driver in front of you did this lap and make an adjustment.
And these are the laps that you have to think qualifying laps. I don't worry about anybody else around me. I have to be absolutely perfect, and that's what these 2 drivers are looking for. We see Brad Lovell has moved himself up into 3rd position.
But that is also 4 points lost. If Johnson wins this race, the championship will go to Luke Johnson because you can only gain 25 points per round, and there's only going to be 1 round remaining.
Mikey Van den Heuvel runs that split lane unbelievably hard, but he also runs this corner very hard as well. So both of these guys, Mikey a little bit loose, and now we see the white flag coming out for Luke Johnson.
And with a little bit of space, that's everything Johnson wanted, because this is one of those corners you can throw it in, but not when you have this much distance. Now guarding that inside line is Johnson.
But Mikey with a great run. He goes from the inside to the outside and uses it to his advantage. Luke Johnson with about a 2 truck length lead. He's doing a great job. He's got to clean this hairpin up, gets a good jump coming off of there. Great job landing and not too wide, not too high.
You hear that horsepower clawing. That Red Bull 14 driver takes that outside line for the first time in a while. I don't know why Van den Heuvel gets squirrely. look at Johnson in that rhythm section. He keeps it on fours. He's going to take the win. Driving it out, powering it out. Luke Johnson wins at ERX, and he's well on his way to the 2017 Pro 2 Championship. What a run by Johnson. He fought hard, but give it to Mikey Vandenheuvel, Brad Lovell, Eric Ruppel. I mean, Andrew Carlson was in it, but that contact really cost him a shot at the win here at ERX.
Oh man, I'm sorry, folks. It's my son's first pro championship besides his pro buggy championship, so I'm a little bit emotional. It's awesome for Jet Hot. It's awesome for everybody.
I've got a proud papa to my left. Luke Johnson takes the win. We'll hear from him when we return.
Designed for your journey.
When it comes to guarding your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance enthusiasts demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by AMSOIL, devoted to protection, and by Cooper Tires. We make tires for people, not just cars.
Is that a yes?
What an amazing race of Pro 2-wheel driving we just witnessed here at ERX Motor Park for TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. The Kenda final rounds, and we have a winner in Pro 2. LJ14, you see how happy he is? He knows that win guaranteed him the championship, and it just doesn't get any better than that, Kate.
It absolutely does not. Luke Johnson, you can see the emotions are starting to flow. You told me Pro 2 is where you wanted to be, and it fit your driving style. Why do you feel that way?
I mean, honestly, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like home in this truck. I mean, the guys have put such an awesome truck under me all weekend, and to have Jet Hot come on board this weekend and make this dream come true for me, I mean, you know, trying to win a championship is one thing, but man, we had to fight for that win. I can't thank everyone enough. Cooper Tires, Method Wheels, Multicam, Wagner Shell, Absolute Realty. I mean, these guys have been so awesome in helping me get to this point. I'm really overwhelmed with emotion, so much so I almost fell off the top of my truck, but man, this has been a long season and it feels great to be here.
What do you attribute this success to?
Having a great support system. I couldn't do it without anyone, or without my family, my girlfriend, my sponsors, my team. I have the best team in the business, hands down. My tranny man, Charlie's been by my side for 8 years now. We've had 0 trans failures. My boy Billy got our rocker fixed. You know, just you got to have all the pieces of the puzzle, and I definitely got the best team in the biz.
It's been quite the journey for Luke Johnson here this season, but he can officially celebrate a Pro 2 championship.
The multicam Langlade Ford able to take that victory, and you can see finally he could take a big sigh of relief. You see the unofficial results. Mikey Van den Heuvel, that was one heck of a run. He had the fastest lap of the race or the fastest last few laps of the race, and just kept putting the pressure on Luke Johnson, but contact with Lovell there might have cost him a little bit there, but Johnson was just a tad quicker. Let's go down to Kate.
Well, knowing that he has actually been on top of the box the last 2 ERX rounds, coming into today, you knew that you had a job to do. What were your expectations, knowing that there was some pressure to perform?
Well, the expectations with our race team is always do the best we possibly can. On a good day, that normally results in a win. Today, the battle we had, I think we showed everybody what TORC racing is all about. I think second place is something to be proud of in this race. We proved that we can, run with these championship contenders clean, get to the front clean. And I really got to thank Kenda Tire. This is a big event for them. Lincoln Electric, all my sponsors, FK Rod Ends. That was quite a run.
That is an understatement. It was quite a run for these top 3 guys.
You can see it was a sigh of relief for Van den Heuvel as well as you look at the championship points. And as I mentioned before, when you have 25 points available at each round, that's the marker you want to get. 26 is money, baby, and there's only 1 round to go. But still, a 3rd place finish for Brad Lovell, and he gave it everything he could in the AMSOIL 44.
You're right about that, Robbie. He gave everything. He just said, I wasn't going to stop. For you, how would you describe that race? It was quite an incredible battle.
Well, we did a lot of work on the truck. My team has just been killing it this weekend. It's a lot of work doing 3 races, and came out here, and boy, we had a fast truck. We were leading for most of the race, and gosh, I just got tangled up with some guys, and then it's like all of a sudden they're all by me, and it's like, oh man, and Mikey kind of dove in at the turn there, the Talladega turn. I was coming through the bottom, and we got tangled up, and I got the raw end of it. I spun out, but I got Scott Douglas spotting for me in my ear, my AMSOIL teammate, and he told me to keep calm, and we just got back in it, and we had a little work to do with 3 laps left there. So I'm so proud to have my family out here, my wife's out here, and my kids, and all the guys helping out. Thank you so much to our team and AMSOIL, and congratulations to Luke. He did a great job this year, and they did a good job. They earned it.
Brad Lovell experiencing the roller coaster of emotions that come with racing, for sure.
And you talk about the competitiveness of this class. The fastest laps of the race, the top 3 drivers separated by only 1/100th of a second.
It was.
Ricky,
all right.
I was trying to get you to stop for a second. You're all flustered.
I'm sorry. I got to talk, man. But I want to congratulate. And I don't want to be like that boasting dad that says nice things about his son's competitor only when his son does well. But I am such a fan of Brad Lovell, and you can see the emotion on him. It was up and down. Luke DNF'd yesterday. It was such an emotional roller coaster for these guys. From Brad, hitting Luke in the first one and then get disqualified but put back 4 spots, and then Luke hitting the wall, then Brad having water pump problems. So it went back and forth, and then you threw Andrew Carlson in the mix, and it came down to this. And Brad, I just want to say to you, as a competitor, as a father of the race with you, you're a champion, bro. In every walk of what you do, and for you to say the things that you do about my son, and that, thank you. And you'll be back, man. You're a champion in Pro Light. You're right there in. We still have to race tomorrow,
yeah,
too.
He's not going to give up in the last race. He wants to win that one. But you're right, and that's why, a good guy in the pits, your heart breaks when you see a mechanical. Nobody wants to. And if it's this race, like Luke had the underdrive yesterday, or Brad had, pinion bolts back out the race for it. Stuff like that's not supposed to happen. So when you see that, even if you're a competitor, you have to feel for him.
And he went for it. And what I love is that you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And he was going for it. He knew that he had to get up there, and he had to make a move on Luke Johnson if he was going to make it happen. And some people might, Robbie was saying, oh, should he have made that move? Absolutely, you got to make it. And Mikey was using that outside line, but then he would hit so hard it would hook, and he came down, not intentionally, and Brad didn't run into him intentionally. They both, 2 racers met at the same point, and as Brad said, he came out the short end of the stick. It spun him around, but great racing all year long. These guys have showed each other respect. They've ran into each other and been mad at each other, all of them, but they congratulate each other when it's over.
Yeah, and also want to remind everybody that they're having to decide after that crazy race who's going to win the Vision Wheel Bad Mofo Award. Just from that one race alone, there's 4 guys that probably 4 or 5 guys that could have won that.
And you also heard Brad talk about FK Rod-Ends. I want to thank Maria from FK Rod-Ends for hooking Luke up with that great suit and the support that she has, not just for Luke, but for Brad. And almost every truck out here runs FK Rod-Ends, and it's such a great product that they all trust, because you can see a lot of times 4,000 pounds, one wheel, and then all that stress goes on those A-arms, and sometimes one or two rod-ends is the only thing that holds it. So thank you for your continued support of racers. You guys have been doing it for years, and it's awesome just to see the support behind the scenes. You know, you hear these guys rattle off their sponsors going on and on and on and on, but without people like you guys, Method Wheels and Cooper Tire for Luke and also for Brad, and it goes on down the line.
Hey, we still got another day to go and a couple more championships to crown in there, and it's going to come down the end for a couple of classes. And how's your thoughts towards tomorrow? How'd that rain look? Did you ever look back at your phone to find out, is it going to rain? Because that could change things up. And the big question was, will they change the track? They're starting to work on it as we speak now. But you were kind of wanting that one split lane to be just one big, sloppy, sandy mess.
I would love to see it, and if I'm wrong, if it makes a one lane, then I say put it back for next year. But let's take it out. Let's add some moguls and stuff, and let it get rough. Let the guys be able to switch lanes halfway through.
Make off-road rough again.
All right, who is the bad mofo?
Division bad mofo. It's time to find out.
All right, guys, this is my most favorite time of the day. I love giving out this award. If you're looking at this, I have a Bad Mofo award given by Vision Wheel. We give out $250 to the best Bad Mofo, and it is my honor. He did this. You saw it earlier today. Not only was he flipping, but he got back up on all four wheels, made it to the front of the line, and he still took a podium spot. My honor to give this to Sean Morris. Sean, congratulations. Those Kenda tires hold up. You are a Vision Wheel Bad Mofo. You've done it here. Like I said, you should probably put 28 on there because you've done 28 rolls now. How do you feel to be a Vision Wheel Bad Mofo?
Hey, man, it's such an honor to actually do this, but you know, rolling must be my thing. So you got to give it to me sometime. I tried it in Bark River and they didn't give it to me. You know, and I was on the podium there. So you know, I'm really proud to have this. Thank you, Vision Wheels, for this honor to have this weekend. Thank you so much.
Well, Sean, we got to flip that around. Show everybody, show that camera. Sean Morris is a Bad Mofo. Congratulations to you. You're $250 richer. Back up to you guys.
Sean, you don't know where that money's been. Didn't your mama tell you never to do that?
That is nasty, Sean.
I actually know where some of that money's been, and you do not want to do that, Ricky.
Yuck.
That's got
Semper Fi, man.
Nasty. And you see the fans still sticking around.
Hold on a second. Wait. I normally have like 8 cookies in my mouth, and I'm eating when we go to us in the booth. But man, what a day of racing!
Yeah, but the fans are still sticking around because there's some sportsman racing still to go out there. I know short course carts are coming up. But the rain is coming. You just looked at your phone. Yep. The rain is coming. It's going to be wetter, but that might just help the ground. It depends on how much, or we may skirt it just a bit. But will we have track changes? They're going to have to definitely stick around to see tomorrow here on TORCseries.com.
Well, the great news is if it does rain, it looks like it's just going to be a band that's going to come through. It could give us exactly what we needed, and if they work the track in, it could make it more old school. Meaning, right now it's kind of hard pack, but kind of more old school like it was last year, softer, ruddier, and stuff like that, because they're going to have to, right now, leave it and not let it get deep, but then tomorrow they can spray the slop off the top.
And another thing is, I think, and it is going to play in your factor because I know you want this, if you have that split lane and it does flood, you're going to have a definitive one lane that's absolutely, without question, faster. If you make it sloppy throughout, eventually that becomes the case until it's not, until it gets too rough. But if it's always so wet in the other one, nobody really wants to take it. But if you make it sloppy all around, you can at least deal with it and change your lines. You can't change your line when you're locked into those tight
And we saw that in the Pro 2 class where a driver got sideways, got up on the side. I don't know who that was.
Mueller did it.
Mueller got caught up there, and what happens is you swap, and then as you turn and as you try to turn away, your front wheel grabs it, it shoots you up the ledge. And we've seen Luke Johnson get stuck there last year. We saw Andrew Carlson have a situation there in practice. We've seen a couple different situations. So I'm just saying, let's try it, and let's open it up. I thought that this made better racing today, opening it up 60 feet. It let more racing happen coming out of the corner. So I'm not the authority, but you know what they say about opinions, and I have one.
I do know what they say about that, and you have one of those too. All right, Ricky Johnson, Kate Osborne, I'm Robbie Floyd. Thanks for watching TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOILS. The final rounds here, the Kenda final rounds here at ERX, but we still have the final round to go. That stop number 13 is tomorrow, the final stop of the TORC season. Come join us. Let's see if the track changes, and let's see what these drivers will deliver. Thanks for watching. Can we do it right now? I'm just saying, it's just a straight